Mike White's Texas Longhorns, the road team in Game 2, despite playing in their home park. Their starting lineup presented by Capital One. And Reese Atwood had 4 good plate appearances yesterday. A line-out, 2 walks, and a home run, or 89th RBI to lead the country. It's the same starting 9 for Texas, and it's the same starting pitcher for Texas A&M, with Emily Kennedy back in the circle.
Yeah, going to their ace, the junior, and Emily Kennedy, who has had such a strong junior season. This will be the second time this season that back-to-back days that Texas has seen her.
It is Ashton Maloney to lead it off. The Texas Longhorns, the #1 overall seed in Division I softball, trying to keep their season alive. In today's first pitch, a strike from Kennedy to Maloney at 4:05 local time here in Austin. The temperature once again is ridiculously hot as Julia Cottrell has to go back to the dugout for a moment. Right now it's 98. It feels like 107. Little ground ball slapped to short. Maloney is punched out at first. Leah Dami, the first base umpire, has the out call on a quick delivery from Coco Woolley.
And we'll see if Coach White wants to review this. Ashton Maloney is not wanting to leave first base. Bang, bang play. Coco Woolley had to get rid of that so quick. Just more of a touch-and-go slap from Ashton Maloney, who has wheels getting down the line. Look at that fist pump from Trinity Cannon, the home run hitter from yesterday.
So Maloney now 0 for 4 in the series. The Texas 1 through 3 hitters were 1 for 12 yesterday, and Mia Scott had her 12-game on-base streak snapped with an 0 for 4. Back-to-back all first-team Big 12 pick. On pace to be one of the great Longhorns in history, and Scott takes strike 1. It's 3 lefties to start for Texas in the lineup, as Kennedy delivers a high strike 2. Scott had been on a real tear until yesterday. Home runs in 2 straight before last night's game. Now 4 of her last 7. And she takes one low, 2-2. Facing the ace of Texas A&M. The question for Game 2 is always, if you have the lead, do you go with your ace back-to-back, or do you try to get through it with the rest of your staff? Scott drives the ball to center. Routine for Jazz Hill, and 2 quick outs for Kennedy in the first.
And Emily Kennedy throws with really good velocity from the left-hand side, and lefties in the circle against Texas's hot offense have had a little bit more success against them, batting about 40 points lower off of left-handed pitchers than right-handed pitchers. And that starts at a really high clip, by the way, because this Texas team, as a team, hitting 380 coming into this game. That drops to about 343 against left-handed pitchers.
Viviana Martinez 1 for 4 yesterday. Martinez strokes the ball to right. That is down, and Martinez is safe at first. A good throw from Allie Enright, who does have 4 outfield assists out in right field. Martinez legs it out for a single to bring up Reese Atwood.
Yeah, Vivi Martinez can have quick hands to the inner half, and she shows that here. She is so short to this ball in the inside corner. Coach White said that they have cranked the pitching machine up to about 90 miles an hour, and Vivi Martinez can get on time with fast pitches, showing it there that she can catch up with some heat on her hands.
And here's Atwood. It takes one a little low. Plate umpire is Smokey Eds today. Leah Dames at first, James Colsey the third at second, and Marty Abzetian over at third. Atwood and Kennedy for the 5th time in the weekend, and Reese takes one up near her ears.
You feel like Vivi Martinez getting on with 2 outs was so important in this inning and in this game for Reese Atwood to come up to the plate with somebody on base. Really careful with her yesterday, walked her a couple of times. You have to be careful with Reese Atwood, and the power numbers that she has put up, her home runs and RBI, has been so clutch.
Atwood takes a strike at the knees, 3-1. In the NCAA tournament, Atwood is 5 for 9, a double, a home run, 4 walks, hit by a pitch. She's been on base a ton. And she's on base again. That's her 5th walk of the tournament. Not an intentional walk, but sure was a pitch around from Kennedy. It puts 2 on and 2 out for the freshman Katie Stewart.
On her at-bats yesterday, Emily Kennedy was owning the outside corner to Stewart.
Goes down and in for ball 1. Tricia Ford really liked the way they pitched Stewart, who had a single in the second, then struck out, grounded into a fielder's choice, and struck out again. There's that outside part of the plate once more to the freshman from Frankfort, Illinois, who set the Texas freshman RBI record, surpassing her teammate Vivi Martinez by 1 from last year. Big rep on strike 2 for the powerful Stewart.
Well, and I think it's worth noting, too, that Texas has a chance to score first. Even though we're at Texas's field, they are the visitors in this game. Huge opportunity to be the one that are the aggressors in this game and get on the board early.
Outside by a hair. Kennedy wanted it.
I mean, she thought she had it. She did her Emily Kennedy stomp there, thinking that that was going to be a looking strikeout.
Stewart blasts one deep to center. Jazz Hill is there right before the wall, and she cleans it up. A couple of 2-out base runners are stranded. The Aggies to bat when we return. Texas A&M Aggies starting lineup brought to you by Capital One. Pop at the top yesterday for the Aggies. Powell, Woolley, and Cannon all had 2 hits. Trinity Cannon with 5 of A&M's 6 RBIs. This experienced Texas A&M team with 4 seniors in the 3 through 6 spots in the starting lineup is 1 win away from the World Series. And to get there, they'll have to get through the Big 12 Freshman of the Year, Tegan Cavan.
And Tegan Cavan has had a stellar freshman year, mostly because of her rise ball. If you're a fan of a rise ball, you're going to be a fan of Tegan Cavan because she can place this pitch on multiple levels. Work it from the knees up to the belt and then up to shoulder high. She can work the ladder with that pitch and then mix in this changeup. She'll throw a rise ball about 80% of the time. That red area is where she gets the majority of her swing and misses. That's where she has her best movement. She throws with good velocity, 68 to 70 miles an hour up in the zone. That is where she can own hitters when she is her best.
It's one of A&M's weakest pitches as a unit. Strike 1 to Kennedy Powell. The Aggies hit just .251 against the rise ball. Lowest batting average against any pitch type, .397 slugging. Only the changeup, a worse slugging percentage as a team for Texas A&M. So Mike White likes this matchup. And he goes to the freshman Cavan, who starts Kennedy Powell 0-2.
And I think with her ability to locate that rise ball on all different planes, it's something that you're just not used to seeing day in and day out as a hitter. She's very unique, deceptive. You can tell, too, with a couple of takes that Kennedy Powell had on the outside corner with that rise ball that she went to. You're going to have to pick up on her spin and deceptiveness early.
And a career-high 12 strikeouts Sunday in the regional final win over Northwestern. 1 hit, 2 walks allowed in 7 innings. Powell elevates one to left center field. Peyton Henry comes over to get the first out for Tegan Cavan. Kennedy Powell whispers a scouting report to Coco Woolley. The jet fuel on this A&M team. 2 hits, a double, and a bunt single yesterday. And Woolley fouls the first pitch off. So important to keep Coco Woolley off base in front of Trinity Cannon, and basically nobody has been able to keep Coco Woolley off base of late. Last 11 games, she is 22 out of 36, and her on-base percentage .641. Slap to left by Woolley, and Bella Dayton makes a great sliding grab. Had an opportunity for a sliding catch on Woolley in the first inning yesterday. Didn't make it. Today, she gets her revenge.
Well, did miss the opportunity for the sliding catch here. And we're used to seeing Bella Dayton, the senior, do this all over the outfield in a Texas uniform. And especially in the postseason on defense and at the box, Bella Dayton steps up.
So we'll see how careful Texas is with Cannon. Careful enough for a first pitch changeup. It is a called strike. Trinity had the second 2-home run game of her college career last night. And Kavad has started her with back-to-back off-speed pitches. A 12-game on-base streak for Cannon, who has a .595 on base and a slugging percentage of 11-11 in that span. And if you're a pitcher, you make a wish that you face Trinity Cannon with 2 out and nobody on. 5 of the 6 Texas A&M RBIs. She had 7 swings yesterday, fouled off 5, homered on 2.
In the NCAA tournament, she had really struggled, hitting 147 in the NCAA tournament, coming into the game, no home runs, just 1 extra base hit. And yesterday, a huge monster day with those 2 bombs.
That's that leg kick working, and fouls one off third base side.
She actually calls that a hover. She talked to the NCAA on their social media. I saw a tweet, an interview there, and she talked about that her hover felt really good and on time. So that's what she calls it, a hover, with that leg kick, and she kind of hovers over her right leg, gets all of her power and energy stored there, and then tries to get on time.
There's the hover, and there's the heater. Come on, strikes her out looking, and a brilliant first inning in her Super Regional debut.
This is that rise ball about belt high. It can just freeze hitters, especially when she's living on the edge like that.
Texas A&M was the talk of the softball world yesterday. The first 16 seed to defeat a 1 seed in a Super Regional game in 6 years.
Well, and you think about who has the pressure entering a Super Regional. It's got to be more all on the 1 seed, right? As a 16 seed, you're playing with house money, nobody expecting you to win. And that's why when ESPN tweeted out this headline that it was such a stunner, if it's the opposite, that Texas wins, everybody expects that, and you go into it thinking, yeah, of course they're the 1 seed, and you expect them to beat the 16 seed. But you're making the headlines. You get to play loose and free like you have nothing to lose. And as the 1 seed, the first ever 1 national seed that Texas has had as a softball program, you can start to feel more of that pressure and the weight of the world on your shoulders. So 2 teams that got to enter into yesterday's game with completely different mindsets, and A&M grabbed the headline.
Emily Kennedy back out there. She's thrown all 8 innings of this Super Regional. And Alyssa Washington fouls away strike 1 against her. Texas A&M yesterday seemed to have the right blend of poise and emotion. They never seemed overamped. Obviously, things got a little bit precarious for them in the 6th inning, and then in the 7th, it was a 1-run game when Reese Atwood homered, but Emily Kennedy looked unfazed. Tricia Ford was so pleased with her pitcher's demeanor after that home run. Said she really didn't seem bothered by it. Went back and attacked Katie Stewart, struck her out, and gave Texas A&M a historic win, their first over a 1 seed in 16 years in the NCAA tournament. 2-1 to the senior Washington. He grounds it foul off of Washington.
Well, remember last season they played in the regional final right here on this field as well. They met up a couple of times, A&M and Texas did, and Texas won both of those games, including the one that knocked A&M out of the postseason. And you remember that. And Trinity Cannon also said in that same interview when she was talking about her hover that last year they may have played a little bit too much into the rivalry aspect of things and tried to put that aside and learn from the experience from last season, bring it into this season, and be better from it.
Yeah, some of the Texas A&M players did think that when we were talking to them. It's funny, we asked them, and Coco really said, didn't think it was a big deal last year. And Rylan Wiggins said, actually, I do feel like the rivalry got to us a little bit last year. And they said, look, it's not a softball rivalry, it's a school rivalry. It'd be great if it was a softball rivalry, though. And if anybody at the SEC is listening, I know there are a lot of teams in the conference, but man, find a way to put these 2 teams on the field as much as possible, because it is something special. And yesterday was one of the great softball environments you and I have ever seen. Washington staying alive on 3-2.
It was really intense of a game. One of the most intense games I've ever called and or been a part of. You could just, the fans were really into it, the coaching staffs, the players, just it was so loud and at times felt a little bit out of control, but not too much.
The 3-2 is low. Alyssa Washington becomes just the third leadoff hitter to reach in 9 innings for Texas in this Super Regional. Got very heated yesterday in the middle of the 6th inning. 2 coaches were ejected. Jody Mitchell lays down a bunt. Kennedy to first. Sacrifice 1-3. Washington down to second. This was the play to end the time of the 6th inning. Kennedy Powell on a bunt, stepped on the foot of Katie Stewart. Now it's kind of an awkward position for Stewart to be set up in, but that led to an exchange of words between Steve Singleton, the Texas assistant, and Russ Heffley, the Texas A&M assistant. They were both ejected. There's a bunt popped up by Caden Henry, and Cottrell's there. Back-to-back pitches bunted and back-to-back outs. Those two are back in their respective posts today. No extra suspension was in order, but it did seem like maybe Texas got a little bit of an emotional boost from that.
Sure seemed like it to me.
Crowd
That's when they
did.
got the loudest, and they hit the grand slam after that.
So Bella Dayton with a runner at second, Washington and 2 down. Dayton had a walk and a base hit yesterday. Another nice postseason in the works for her. 4 for 9, 3 RBIs. Dayton goes the other way out to left. Kramer Estes there. Texas is stranded 3 through 2. Middle of the Aggies order coming up. It is one of the great rivalries in college sports, a Lone Star Showdown. No matter the sport, the gridiron, the hardwood, or the diamond, Texas and Texas A&M meet, and special things happen with special players involved. Today, their seasons are on the line with Texas A&M 1 win for the World Series, and Texas trying to force a Game 3. The 2 largest universities in the state, separated by a cool 105 miles. It is the closest proximity of any super regional series this year. You've been in it. In fact, we just saw you pitching. We may have even seen you hitting. You live just outside of Austin. You've been to a ton of Longhorn games. Texas A&M and Texas. You have a unique perspective on this rivalry. What does it mean when these two get together?
It usually is pretty intense and just such good games. And when you look at the record between the 2 teams and their histories, it's about 50-50, that both of them have had their wins, had their losses, and it's been pretty balanced throughout the rivalry. But a lot of familiarity between these 2 teams, and it's always been that way because a lot of Texas kids play on both teams. They play each other in high school and travel ball and are from the big cities in Texas. And so you know each other and you have a lot of pride in this matchup. You get to wear a different uniform than what you wore in high school and travel ball.
You get to think back to some of the great teams of the 2000s. You, Megan Gibson at Texas A&M, Kat Osterman, who just saw at Texas. And we are seeing players on these teams who are probably going to go down with those kind of career accolades. So they're going to get their jerseys retired, maybe their names hung on the walls of the stadiums. There are all kinds of pictures of Longhorn greats, Wall of All-Americans here at McCombs Field. Who will be the next one to add their name to that list? Tegan Cavan, perhaps. Reese Atwood. So many talented players here at Texas, which is trying to make it back to the World Series after being in the Champ Series 2 years ago. 3-1 now from the freshman Cavan to Julia Cottrell. Julia's been a part of all kinds of great rivalries in her career. 2 years at Florida, 1 at Oklahoma State. Played in the World Series with the Cowgirls, and now her second and final at Texas A&M. And Cottrell chases one way out of the zone for strike 2.
Getting a little antsy there, expecting that she's going to see something much better in that 3-1 count than a changeup that was in the dirt that would have been ball 4.
Cottrell 2 for 12 in the NCAA tournament. 1 for 4 last night. Cottrell takes ball 4.
Well, Kevin, you mentioned that 2022 national championship run that Texas had. They were unseeded that year, and really, you think about, they were really motivated because they felt slighted, had to travel on the road to Seattle in their regional and ended up playing on the road in a super regional. They took a tough route to the Women's College World Series. And when you look at their team numbers with ERA and batting average and fielding percentage, look at how much better this team is when it comes to the numbers. And that team in 2022 played in the championship series. They finished in second place. That was a team that really came together toward the end of the year.
They won 6 straight elimination games in the postseason. Hitting 2 on that semifinal Monday against Oklahoma State, beating Julia Cottrell's Cowgirls 5-0 and 6-5. Lost to Oklahoma in the Champ Series. 1-1 for Jazz Hill. And Hill drills one. Left center field. Jasmine Hill with a 2-run bomb. And for the second straight game, Texas A&M opens the scoring with a home run. It's number 9 for Hill, and the Aggies strike first in game 2.
Jazz Hill transferred over from Arizona State. She had played with Trisha Ford and the coaching staff that came over to Texas A&M, who moved over here. And last year, she had a down year. This year, she has come out and been one of the best hitters in the SEC, a professional hitter, a senior who has a ton of experience. Coming into the Super, she was kind of cold, kind of slumping. But the at-bats that she's been putting together in game 1 and that swing right there, you can tell she is getting on time, on plane, and barreling things up in a big way. Her offensive presence had really been lacking, not really producing, but here in the Super, she's turned it on.
You see the Longhorns record when opponents score first, and there's a base hit by Ryland Wiggins through the shift. Texas 40-0 when it scores first. 10-8 when allowing the first run. All of their losses this season, they've given up the first run, and they give up the first 2 here on Jasmine Hill's 46th career home run in her 236th career game. And she is the most experienced power hitter in this team in the NCAA tournament. Arizona State, now A&M. There's a ball blasted foul by Allie Enright.
These games, it is just so crucial to be the one that applies pressure and gets on the board first, and now A&M has done it in both games.
And 2 for Enright.
Think about, too, them hitting the long ball. They really struggled, or their numbers were different on the road versus at home. Texas A&M had a great home record, hit a ton of home runs at Davis Diamond, but their power when they were playing on the road hadn't really been transferring in terms of home runs. But think about how they've scored here in this Super Regional. Almost all of their runs, all but one run that they've scored, have come via the long ball.
Well, 2 for Enright. Up the ladder to foul one away. These are good swings for Texas A&M, which has looked absolutely prepared for its second straight game. They did expect they were going to see Citlali Gutierrez off the start. Yesterday, that was a bit of an open question. It was easier to assume Tegan Cavan would pitch today. And A&M has been all over her in this inning. A walk, a home run, a base hit. And Enright strikes out at a changeup. Throw to second base. Wiggins is out. So strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Sounded like even Texas A&M may have picked this changeup. It sounded like they were calling for it from in the dugout, but still, despite it being a changeup, Reese Atwood easily going to throw out Ryland Wiggins from her knees. Reese Atwood looked like she even threw that at about, I don't know, 70%, not even a whole arm that you usually see from Reese Atwood. What a throw. A tough pitch to handle.
That is only the second base runner Reese Atwood's thrown out this season. 2 for 12 now, and a pivotal caught stealing for a double play. Freshman Maya Perez Takes one a little high.
And there's just something about momentum shifters like that in the postseason that just feel different and feel more important than a regular season game or a game back in February in a tournament that you're playing in a non-conference schedule. I mean, every single play and moment has a chance to be the moment or the throw, the pitch that shifts everything about the game. And you can feel that as a fan. You can feel it calling the game, how important every single pitch and play is in the postseason.
Perez making a third straight start. It's the first time all season she's done that, just her 10th of the year. And Perez takes a 4-pitch walk. Second of the inning. And Estelle Check, the Texas lefty, standing behind the rubber in the bullpen.
Coach White told us that Estelle Check, he likes to use her in those middle relief innings. She's a pitcher with a lot of experience, a senior, and obviously a different look from the left-hand side, but takes her a while to get loose and to get warm. So starting early here in the second inning.
Strike one to the 9-hitter Kramer Este. Trinity Cannon drove in the first 5 yesterday, but Este had a pivotal RBI in the 6th. Maya Perez walked with 2 outs, and then Este followed with an RBI double off the wall. A run that it turns out Texas A&M absolutely needed.
And the only run that they've scored not via home run. And what's funny about that is that it was about 2 feet away from being a home run off the left center field wall. It's about 10 feet tall.
Most parks in America that would have been a home run.
You can hear how kind of quiet the crowd is. It's another advantage to scoring first, especially when you are the road team. You try to take the crowd out of it as much as you can, and they were pretty quiet early on in yesterday's game too. Got fired up in the middle innings.
This really is an amazing turn of events. Texas A&M jumped all over Texas in the early innings yesterday. A 1 seed, season on the line, back to the wall. Finds itself now down 2. A&M continues to see these Texas pitchers very well. There's a good off speed and not good enough apparently. Texas was walking into the dugout.
Yeah, I think this is just a missed call. I think likely, I can't speak for him, but I think that he would admit that. That looked like that should be a strike all day.
Smokey Ed says ball 3. And Este stays alive.
It's not a lot of swings and misses from A&M this first time through the order against Cavan, who averages on the year about 26% swing and miss rate.
Only 2 in the first 37 pitches thrown by Cavan, who is second in the Big 12 in strikeouts per 7. Three-two. Hitter. So 2 pitches after it looked like Cavan had a called third strike. She hits Este. Perez down to second, and now the Aggies will have the top of their order up. And Patty Ruth Taylor, the Texas pitching coach, will visit Tegan Cavan.
3 free passes in this inning for Cavan. Led off the inning with a walk. And then a 2-out walk, and then a 2-out hit by pitch. Rise ball trying to get up and in on the hands. You can tell the command not particularly great for Cavan to start out this game, and I think it's just the at-bats and the way that A&M is seeing the ball out of her hand early. They're making it tough on her. Remember, just a freshman. This is the biggest game that she's ever pitched in her career. And in travel ball, she's played at a very high level, has pitched in some big games. But you get to the super regional, an elimination game, things go up about 100 different levels in your mind and with your heart rate of the pressure that you feel in this moment. It's a lot to take on as a freshman.
Scout Lovell's going to pinch run now that Perez gets down to second. Now the batter, Kennedy Powell, who flied out to center field her first time. Texas A&M with the lead again on a 2-run Jasmine Hill homer, and the Aggies are searching for more. Kavan has retired only 1 out of 6 batters in the inning. The second out was on the caught stealing from Rylan Wiggins. So 2 walks, a hit batter, a single, and a 2-run home run. Excellent approach by A&M against the Big 12 Freshman of the Year. That's on the ground. That's through the right side. Here comes Lovell, the pinch runner to the plate, and she is safe. An RBI single for Kennedy Powell, who takes second on the throw, and it's 3-0, the 16-seeded Aggies.
You get those runners on in the postseason and into scoring position, and what the postseason is all about is coming up clutch with runners in scoring position, especially with 2 outs. This Texas A&M offense has thrived with two outs all season long, scoring a big percentage of their runs. They never let down in an inning. They get 2 outs and they just get stronger.
Second and third for Coco Woolley. Into the Super Regionals, 44% of Texas A&M's runs with 2 outs. 52% of their runs the regional weekend came with 2 outs. And Powell brings home a big third one here, and she and Este are both in scoring position. Woolley to second base, tough hop picked by Washington, and she records the out. But another early 3-run inning for Texas A&M, and another big swing.
Another big swing by a senior. Jazz Hill, the transfer from ASU, puts A&M on the board. They scored 3 in this inning. She got it going.
Texas A&M is in the midst of a dream season right now. Most wins in 6 years. 3rd most runs in school history. That was coming into today. Add 3 more to that number. First national seed in 6 years. You get the sense that they haven't done a lot in 6 years. First Super Regional in 6 years. First top 10 win this season against number 1. The Aggies a 16 seed. They didn't play a great non-conference strength of schedule. So that's why, despite finishing 3rd in the SEC and going 40-13 into the postseason, now 44-13, they were only the 16 seed, but they had a very tough conference schedule. A lot of difficult road environments in SEC play. Had to go to Florida, had to go to Alabama, had to go to LSU. And here they are in Austin, and they have looked completely unfazed. And right now we are all phased because something has gotten loose up against the center field wall. Jazz Hill wants no part of this. Is that a t-shirt?
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. And
Marty doesn't mind.
no.
Yep, Marty's going to get dirty with the t-shirt. There we go. See you later.
Oh, that's funny.
Other duties as assigned. A lot of Longhorn fans in the outfield. There are fans all over this ballpark, which has a capacity of 1254. Probably has about double that many people around here. That is going to be an out because Maloney was hit by the ball after she left the box. That's a ruling by Smokey Eds, and it's the first out of the inning. Mike White would like to have a conversation about this. And maybe to review it, see where Maloney was when she was hit by the ball. First, the umpires will come together and discuss it.
It seems like she was in the box when she got hit. Kind of deceptive as a slapper because you're moving toward getting out of the box, and her hands were out of the box, but her feet were in the box. So this one, I think, is going to get overturned. They are indeed going to review it. Coach White is going to use a challenge here. So let's go to Pittsburgh.
So the umpires came together. They did not change the call. The umpires can have a discussion and change the call, but they decide to keep the call on the field. of an out, with Maloney being hit by the ball while she was out of the box. And it sure looks like her toes are inside the box there. So Texas does use its first challenge.
Only had one challenge in yesterday's game.
It was an awfully consequential one. It overturned a triple play and made it a 3-run. It didn't make it a 3-run homer, but later in the at-bat there was a 3-run homer. So should be 1-2 on Maloney. Scott, Martinez, and then Atwood to follow. And Emily Kennedy once again staked to an early lead. Five shutout innings yesterday. Gave up 4 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, but had enough cushion to get the win. And Smokey Ed says foul ball. So Texas wins its challenge, and the count will be 1-2 on Ashton Maloney.
Yeah, and remember, you get 2. You don't get to keep 1 if you have one that is overturned, if you quote unquote win the challenge.
Her 21st game in a row in the leadoff spot. Texas is 18-2. She's reached base 46% of the time. They've got Reese Atwood a little further back in the order here. Normally your best hitter wouldn't be hitting 4th, but Texas really likes the on-base skills of the batters ahead of her. And it's even more important than it might be for a typical team to just get somebody on. Get Reese Atwood to the plate with runners or a runner on base. 3-2 now for the sophomore Maloney, for the junior Kennedy. And Maloney slaps one to second. Wiggins on a high hop, and Maloney is safe, going head first into the bag. She has her first hit of the Super Regional.
Just a great slap by Ashton Maloney, who has such good barrel control and just slams the ball into the ground to create such a high hop that Rylan Wiggins really can't do anything with it to throw her out. But it's the beauty of those slappers, creating those high hops.
Mia Scott on the next pitch. Jazz Hill covering a lot of ground in left center, makes the play, and Maloney retreats on the first out. The rare headfirst slide into first here. You don't see this one much.
You don't. They always tell you not to do that, just to run through is faster. But sometimes you're just, I think, so intense and want to get there so bad. You think that diving headfirst is going to get you there faster. But I think either way, she would have got there no matter what.
So Scott now 0 for 6 in the series. Kennedy has really pitched her well. Here's Viviana Martinez. Extra base hit in 10 of her last 15. Martinez leads the team with 16 doubles. Got a .442 on base percentage. She's slugging .604. One of the top recruits in the country a couple of years ago. And Reese Atwood waiting for her opportunity. She batted with a runner at first and 2 outs in the first inning, and Kennedy completely pitched around her. And if Kennedy gets Martinez out, probably going to pitch around her again. So it's up to the player they call Miss Smooth, daughter of a former minor league player. On the ground to second. Wiggins throws it away. The first error of the Super Regional is made by perhaps its most sure-handed player.
Now, Rylan Wiggins is a defensive wizard over there at second base or anywhere you put her, but that throw just Coco Woolley could not handle. It's just well over her head. This is potentially a double play, which A&M has been great at turning. The defense and their fielding percentage this year is up from last year. Their defense is usually one of their strong points of their team, but that's going to go down as an error on Rylan Wiggins. And Coach Ford going to come out and talk to her defense to just calm them down and remind them that they have the lead and that they're all good.
Only the 6th error of the season committed by Rylan Wiggins, who was named to the SEC All-Defensive Team. And now Reese Atwood represents the tying run after a ground ball that could have ended the inning. Here's what Reese Atwood did in the 7th inning yesterday.
Yeah, this is on a changeup. The first pitch of the at-bat. Actually, both of the home runs that Texas hit off of Emily Kennedy in yesterday's game were on the first pitch of the AB. Hunting early, got a changeup that was not located well, and been looking for those mistakes. She has not seen many pitches there over the heart of the plate this season, because oftentimes you got to pitch her careful and pitch around her.
And Atwood goes the other way, and that ball takes a hop off the dirt to end right for a base hit. Reese Atwood with a little opposite field knock. Maloney to third, Martinez to second, and they're loaded for Katie Stewart.
Actually a good pitch by Emily Kennedy to get in on the hands of Reese Atwood, who just inside out says just not even a full swing. I don't even know if she wanted to swing at this, but beats the shift because Rylan Wiggins was playing up the middle of the field. That ball had a lot of spin on it too.
And here's Katie Stewart, the go-ahead run. And that one just off the plate, according to Smokey Eds, for ball one. And the Texas crowd is starting to show some signs of life. Stewart rockets one foul.
Have to be really careful on the inner half with Katie Stewart. She has so much pull power, can hit a ball about 300 feet off the building out behind the left field wall. You go inside, you have to throw it more off the plate and hard in and try to get her to get herself out away.
Stewart, another ground ball foul, and she's in another 2-strike count. She has swung a lot over the course of this weekend. And with 2 strikes, she'll try to do something for Texas with the bases loaded. We saw a pinch hit grand slam from Victoria Hunter yesterday, the 4th of the season for the Longhorns.
It's a great take by Katie Stewart, a pitch that she swung at in yesterday's game and one of her strikeouts. Learning from her at-bats in yesterday's game against Emily Kennedy, now seeing her 6 times here.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Kennedy strikes out Stewart for a 3rd time this weekend.
And Emily Kennedy went right at her. This first pitch of the pitch sequence, she did not get the call, but it did not deter her from going right at her as Katie Stewart had a hard foul ball that she fouled off 2 times in a row. Didn't chase that one, but that drop ball in the outside corner was nasty.
Then a ground ball to second from Washington, and Kennedy and Texas A&M have another great escape. Longhorns leave them loaded. 2 Super Regionals started on Thursday. They're both over. Oklahoma a little bit closer yesterday, but beat Florida State 4-2, looking for a historic 4-peat. And UCLA, which has maybe been the hottest team in the nation the last couple of months, they're going to the World Series. They're on the bottom of the bracket. Here's the top. Baylor, unseeded, took down Florida today to send that series to a winner-take-all game 3. Big wins last night. Run rule wins for Oklahoma State over Arizona and LSU over Stanford. Missouri and Duke are going to game 3 after the Tigers' 3-1 win today. And then the game that's keeping us off ESPN right now, Tennessee and Alabama. Crimson Tide in another extra inning game. Tennessee came back to win 3-2. That game is 2-2 in the bottom of the 9th. As Trinity Cannon is hit by Tegan Cavan's first pitch of the 3rd. And Cannon gets hit for a 2nd time this series and a 5th time in the last 13 games.
Trying to work her inside and not let her get her hands extended. Saw Mac Morgan hit her with a drop ball. Tegan Cavan hit her with the rise ball, their best pitches.
All right, Mike White is out again to talk to Smokey Eds, who's calling the umpiring crew together. Remember, Texas used a challenge in the top of the inning, and they only have 1 remaining. Smokey Eds is telling him the umpires are not overturning that call. Not saying the pitch would have been in the zone, not saying that Cannon leaned into it. Mike White's not going to use a challenge as Cannon fires up the Aggie crowd again.
I think maybe he was asking if it went off the knob of the bat as well, with the way that Smokey pointed to the elbow.
Definitely got the elbow.
Yeah.
She didn't exactly try to get out of the way, but she didn't lean into it either. And Cannon is awarded first. Julia Cottrell, the batter.
You can tell too in this game, Kevin, that A&M has been aggressive early in the count, not wanting to get 2 strikes against Tegan Cavan, because opponents are hitting 087 off of Cavan when she gets 2 strikes because of that rise ball, because of her deceptive changeup. And I'm looking to hit earlier in the count.
Cottrell to third. That's off the glove of Mia Scott. She shovels to second. It's not in time. Nearly an ace recovery, but a miscue on the infield puts 2 Aggies on with nobody out.
Yeah, this is a play with the athleticism of Mia Scott that she should be able to make, but you see her athleticism with sticking with it after it hit off of her glove and almost getting that out at second base. I mean, look how quick she gets to this in this awkward throw. Oh, look like, as we see that replay, that I think that they got the force out at second, and it is going to be reviewed.
Now Mike White's going to use his second challenge here. So Texas will be out of challenges and unable to review a play until the 6th inning, when crew chief reviews can take over. That is so close.
That is so close. Has to be indisputable video evidence that the throw beat her foot to the bag.
And the glove has to start to close around the ball.
This is when I'm glad that I'm not in the Pittsburgh Review Center and not in charge of this call.
But at all other times, you do want to be in the Pittsburgh Review Center, to be clear. It's a pretty quick review. And it's been overturned.
That was a quick one. I didn't think that that one was going to be so quick with how close it was. It's a huge out for Texas.
Apparently there was indisputable video evidence. And Texas wins both of its challenges. Now they're going to have to hope they're not on the wrong end of another close play for a couple of innings. So 5-4 fielder's choice. Great recovery by Scott. That easily could have been an error or a misplay, whether it was ruled an error or not. And now Jazz Hill, the home run hitter from the second.
Tegan Cavan went inside on that first pitch, a really well-located pitch, just off the plate. A rise ball that is just tough to, like an uncomfortable strike to a right-handed hitter that's up and in on the hands.
Came on a 1-1 pitch. Anything could go.
And you got to throw it hard in, because if you don't get it in enough or up enough, this is what Jazz Hill could do to it. This was a swing that started to give A&M the momentum and get them on the board.
And she's been playing softball since she was 3.5 years old, Jazz Hill. It was a decision between softball and dance for her. She went with softball. If you're wearing maroon, boy, are you glad she made that call. Popped up right side. Washington is there for the second out. So here's Rylan Wiggins, who singled her first time. Wiggins at her 226th career start. She has been with the Aggies all 4 years. Committed to UT Arlington as an 8th grader, and that commitment did not last long. She decommitted into her freshman year. Ended up committing to Texas A&M under the previous head coach, Joe Evans, and stuck around. And Tricia Ford says that she's the standard. She's the one who's running the dugout. She's the one who's a constant, steady force. She's the glue, along with Trinity Cannon, that bridges the old with the new. Trisha said, I was a freshman when I came to this program. And Rylan and Trinity have taught her what it is to be an Ag.
Well, for Rylan Wiggins, too, it's just her presence and the fact that she's never too high, never too low, and that Trisha Ford says that she is always competing and fighting. That's the type of player that Coach Ford loves. That's the type of player that Rylan Wiggins is. She never gives up.
Runner at first is Cottrell with 2 down. 3-0 lead for Texas A&M, the number 16 seed. There have only been, since the beginning of the Super Regionals in 2005, 2 16 seeds to advance. Last one to do it was Georgia over Florida 8 years ago. 3-2 for Rylan Wiggins.
Well, and A&M has done a really good job against Tegan Cavan's rise ball of not chasing that pitch that is about eye level or shoulder height out of the zone. They have made her bring that rise ball down, which is why they've gotten some better pitches to hit. They've gotten some mistakes. Not a lot, but the mistakes that she has thrown, they've hit.
Cottrell goes on a 3-2. Wiggins knocks it fair inside the bag at third. Cottrell going to third. The throw kicks off the glove of Scott, and it's a double slice right down the line by Rylan Wiggins, making it 2-hit afternoon for the Aggies second baseman.
And both of Rylan Wiggins' hits have been on this changeup. Her first one was the first pitch or early in the count. This time it's with 2 strikes. Remember, opponents are hitting 0.87 off of Tegan Cavan because of that changeup and her deceptive rise ball. But Rylan Wiggins, the senior, steps up and moves 2 runners into scoring position, including herself.
11th double of the year. That's the most of any Aggie. And here's the player with the second most, Allie Enright. Down to the 7th spot. And Texas A&M's second best power hitter by slugging percentage. Just 2 for 12 in the postseason for Enright. Oh, 1 from Cavan.
Allie Enright was one of the players that Trisha Ford talked about when we asked, hey, who've been the leaders? Maybe not the ones that we immediately think of, like a Rylan Wiggins, who's kind of an obvious choice. She pointed to Allie Enright. She's a part of the junior class who Trisha Ford coach teams. She likes to put that junior class in charge of holding the standard. Not necessarily the senior class, it's the junior class that her coach teams. She likes to put them in charge of that, and Allie Enright has always been a hard worker, but you can see batting average up by over 100 points, more home runs, and she's been more clutch, almost tripling her RBI.
Trying to come through with 2 on and 2 out. And Enright pops it up. Martinez is there. Texas strands 2. 4 innings to go for the Longhorns to get some runs. Three-0 Texas A&M through 3. We're joined by the head coach of the top-seeded Longhorns, Mike White. Mike, you guys have seen Emily Kennedy now for 10 innings. What adjustments do your hitters need to make against her?
Well, we just need to get a big hit when we need it. I mean, really, we're kind of seeing it pretty well. We get putting it in play, but just not with runners on base.
Coach, in facing an elimination game today, when you're the head coach talking to your team pregame, what's your message?
Hey, just be yourselves. You know, we got here for a reason that we're pretty good, and we just got to play that way and believe in themselves. Right now we're just pressing a little bit, which is understandable, but hopefully we can settle down and get a run and put some pressure back on.
Mike White, appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you. Hook 'em.
Big 12 Coach of the Year. His team needs to find some juice. Needs to find some action against Emily Kennedy.
Yeah, back in the 3rd inning last time that Kennedy was in the circle, found herself with the bases loaded, less than 2 outs, struck out Katie Stewart with a drop ball, and then a couple of hopper ground ball out to her best infielder, and Rylan Wiggins was able to get out of it. That was a good chance for Texas to score. Emily Kennedy made some pitches to get out of it.
Texas has stranded 12 runners, only brought in 5 here in the Super Regional. Longhorns today are 1 for 8 with runners on base. Only the Reese Atwood single. 1 for 6 runners in scoring position. They left 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 in the third. They've stranded 4 in scoring position. And that ball is grounded foul by Jolie Mitchell in the number 7 spot.
Think about, Kevin, the energy and how you feel going into a game like this. Game 2 of a super regional, but these two teams are in completely different positions when it comes to A&M being 1 win away from the Women's College World Series, and for Texas just trying to extend their season to get to tomorrow, to win today, to play together one more time tomorrow to push this to a Game 3 and not have their season ended. This is a young Texas team. We talked about it when writing in the lineup that A&M has a lot of different seniors all throughout their lineup. There are more seniors and juniors, a lot of veterans. When you write in the Texas lineup, it's freshmen and sophomores.
The only seniors in the Texas lineup, Washington and Mitchell batting now, and Dayton batting 3rd in the inning. Trying to come through against the junior Emily Kennedy. Mitchell drives the ball to left field. That's well struck. That's at the wall. And that is the first Texas run here in Game 2. Jolie Mitchell, the first-year Longhorn, with her 2nd home run of the postseason. And Texas gets one back.
Jolie Mitchell put together a quality at-bat here against Emily Kennedy, and she goes to her curveball, and Jolie Mitchell goes to being able to get her barrel up and into that pitch. The best part about that home run, if you're Emily Kennedy and Texas A&M, is that nobody was on base. But for Texas, Coach White just said, we've got to get on the board here, and Jolie Mitchell just does that.
She has had an awesome postseason now, 7 for 11 with 2 homers and 2 walks. The Notre Dame transfer was a first-team All-ACC player a year ago. Texas now with all 6 runs in the series coming on home runs. Mitchell brings them within 2, and nobody out for the freshman Caden Henry. There have not been a lot of swings and misses for either pitcher. Gavon, who had struck out 113 and 108 in the 3rd. Kennedy, who had struck out 196 and 194. Only 1 K today for Kennedy. And Henry waits back on that 2-strike pitch to stay alive.
I think it just goes to show the preparation of the offenses, because the pitching with Emily Kennedy and the Texas pitching staff, I mean, you're talking about quality pitchers, some of the best arms in the country going at it, but the offenses are pretty good too, and very prepared going into games.
Henry slaps a ground ball to short. Coco Willie safe at first. It's routine for maybe 98% of the country, but nothing is routine against the electric freshman Henry.
She has so much speed, and she has so much power to go along with her speed too. And Coco Woolley sat back way too long, took too much time to get rid of the ball. And in that meantime, Caden Henry was getting down the line using her speed. She is so fast.
Tricia Ford is going to use her first challenge on this play, but based on those angles, it looks like Henry is safe.
I mean, it was that one extra shuffle step that Coco Woolley had, but that was the difference of Caden Henry being safe. This will not get overturned, in my opinion.
Well, careful out on that limb.
Yeah, it's true. You just never really know until we come out with the answer.
It's true. We've seen weird things happen. First hit of the Super Regional for Henry. He was an all Big 12 second teamer as a freshman, and here's the very quick review result. So back-to-back hits to start the inning for Texas. One other thing to think about right now. Bella Dayton's going to face Emily Kennedy for a 5th time in this weekend. Then Ashton Maloney's going to face her for a 7th time, and Mia Scott for a 7th time. These Texas hitters have seen a lot of Emily Kennedy. And we wondered, as Kennedy gets only her 2nd swing and miss, we wondered if A&M might try to do something different. Maybe go with Shaylee Ackerman or Emily Levin. Mike White thought there was a good chance they Might go with somebody else. Patricia Ford sticks with Kennedy. And it's a conversation where you can see the pros and cons of either approach as Brooke Vestal throws. Kennedy's been very good right now. But is there a moment where Texas sees her enough? Right back to the circle. Kennedy gets one out at second. The lead runner, Henry, is retired.
Just start to pay attention to the contact off of her and start to pay attention to the score. And what's important, I think, if you're A&M, is maybe not even that decision, but offensively trying to continue to put more runs on the board to give some insurance runs. You have the lead right now, but Jolie Mitchell broke into that lead, and Texas still trying to put more runs on the board here.
Asta Maloney checked her swing. And we saw with Florida today one way this can go. They started Keegan Rothrock yesterday, complete game. They started there today with a 1-0 lead, and she was knocked out in the first inning. And now you wonder if you're Florida, do you start her again a third straight day tomorrow? So with that in mind, were you surprised at all that Tricia Ford went with Kennedy today?
I think that we have thought about this since the game ended yesterday, who would get the start for A&M today. And my final thought coming into today on the way to the ballpark was to give the ball to Emily Kennedy. And it is a lot, but she has been your ace, and you have a chance to be one win or just several outs, 21 outs away from the Women's College World Series. I think you want to give her the ball. You want to give her the chance. You don't want to lose with your best pitcher on the bench.
Maloney, ground ball to second. Wiggins has to hurry, and she got it just in time. Maloney retired as Dayton takes second. 2 down, Mia Scott.
I think the other thing to think about, and I just got really excited to bring up this point to you, so sorry for interrupting you.
Don't ever be sorry about that.
Is the message that it sends to your offense when you put Emily Kennedy in the circle and your defense.
Scott smokes one into right center field. That is down for a base hit. Hill comes firing home, and Dayton stopped at third. Bella Dayton looks stunned as she looks over at Mike White.
Yeah, you can tell Steve Singleton is stunned. Coach White is stunned. Everybody thought Bella Dayton was going to score off the bat. This finds a hole, and it takes Jazz Hill, the center fielder, a long time to get to this ball. And when you have the speed of Bella Dayton, she's starting at second base. This is score all day long, but some reason throws on the brakes.
Now Martinez into left field, and Texas does not get the run. A gargantuan missed opportunity for the Longhorns, who only get one. Yesterday they have a 3-1 lead today. Tricia joins us now. Much different pitcher you guys see today in Tegan Cavan, but your approach has been terrific again. What did you emphasize in your offensive approach against Cavan?
We have a certain pitch that we're hunting, right? And so just making sure that we're executing that plan.
Coach, and with Emily Kennedy going back-to-back games here, what are your conversations like with her when she's facing these same hitters 6-7 times now? What is that communication like with you in game?
Yeah, I just keep talking to her, after each inning of just like, hey, what are you feeling? How are you liking? We kind of talk through some hitters and, just tell her to go out there and compete. She competes.
Tricia, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks, and gig 'em.
It's 3-1. It looked like it could have been 3-2. Here's the base hit for Mia Scott. It looked like Bella Dayton was, in fact, held at third by Mike White. Watch the point right here.
Really confusing with the point, because at first it did look like he was pointing and to go home.
And then it looks like he's gesturing toward home.
It looked like it did look like he was doing that. As you can see, he's trying to explain himself, but then it looked like he pointed down at third base, and that is when Bella Dayton stopped, on a dime, when he pointed like more toward the third base bag. Bella Dayton was clearly upset after she got out in between innings. And I like to see the leadership and how important making Alyssa Washington the captain was in between innings. When she went out to warm up after she grabbed her glove, she immediately went to Alyssa Washington. They were having a conversation. Alyssa Washington was calming her down, giving her some support.
You can see Bella there still shaking her head. She seems still frustrated. She's still shaking her head out in left field. Now Jazz Hill has a cannon, and she's got 7 outfield assists. but that's still a huge surprise to not see a runner come across from there. And it may have been as simple as a miscommunication. Some coaches will windmill you home. They'll use the right arm. Some coaches will point. Mike White did the point. It feels like it was a point of deception, not a point of abundance, it turned out for Texas. 2-2 now for Maya Perez.
Like a good pitch to hit right there in that 2-1 count.
So Perez, Este, and Powell, 8-9-1. Freshman walked her first time. And fouls away at 2-2 here. Just all these moments for Texas, all these moments where they come so close, and then A&M makes a pitch or A&M makes a play and the energy gets drained out of the Longhorns again. They've stranded 8 runners on base through 4 innings. How many opportunities can you expect to get? Strike 3, Cavan goes up the ladder for her 3rd punch out.
And A&M really hasn't chased this pitch. They've had really good discipline with her rise ball. It's been about shoulder high or letter high. But Cavan gets a strikeout here. That rise ball by far is her best pitch. Throws it almost 80% of the time, a pitch that she learned at a young age and learned it with not the right rotation, more bullet spin at a young age when she learned that pitch and then got the true backward rotation.
Comes from pitching family. Her mom, Teresa, was a college pitcher at Drake. Got Tegan into pitching. She was always throwing in the backyard growing up. She was a softball junkie as a kid, too. Said she would ask mom to let her leave school to watch postseason games on TV. And she knew coming to Texas she'd develop as a pitcher. She came to a camp here sophomore year, fell in love with the school, and really loves getting to learn from Mike White, who is a tremendous pitcher in his playing career. Loves Mike's terminology, his teaching style.
And he taught her the changeup that she's thrown this year. He said in high school, really all she threw was that one pitch, her rise ball, over and over and over again. And that's how dominant of a pitch that is for Tegan Cavan, that she could throw that pitch almost 100% of the time and continue to get outs and be successful with it. But you can't do that in college. You have to be able to make speeds, and that changeup has been a big pitch for her that she's thrown about 16% of the time. But opponents off of her changeup just hitting 111 off of it. The D1 average on that changeup is 231.
3-1 for Este, hit by a pitch on a 3-2 count her first time. And Este grounds it right back to Cavan. 2 up, 2 down to the A&M 4th.
Just a highly respected pitcher at such a young age with the success that she's had and the big games that she's thrown, being a part of this deep Texas pitching staff that has added her look, a look that is up in the zone that they didn't have last year when they had such a successful season. Went to Tennessee to Super Regionals, lost, but loved the look that she added with her rise ball up in the zone.
Up and in, that hit the bat. That's a fair ball, that's an out. And excuse me, grounded to third off the bat of Powell. And Tegan Cavan throws a 1-2-3 inning with the middle of her order coming up. Reese Atwood, the National Player of the Year finalist, will have another crack at this thing in the 5th. Reese Atwood has put together the best offensive season in Texas softball history, hoping it will not end today. 89 RBIs. The previous record was 66. 23 home runs. The previous record was 18. 158 total bases, the most for a Longhorn. The best slugging percentage right now for a Longhorn at .913 coming into the game. She, Nyjah Kennedy, and Lexi Kilfoyle are the NFCA Player of the Year finalists. Atwood the only hitter. And she'll bat against Emily Kennedy to lead off the Texas 5th. The Longhorns down to their final 9 outs. And with the nation's statistically best hitter, by RBIs by power. Trying to get the party started for Texas. And Atwood is hit. And Reese Atwood has now reached pace 6 consecutive plate appearances after hitting a line drive that almost got Kennedy in the face. So she has been an on-base machine this week.
And this is actually on a changeup that Emily Kennedy tries to throw, so not going to hurt as bad as getting hit on a 70-mile-an-hour rise ball on your elbow. Took a little bit off of that one.
Adea Wallace, Texas's top pinch runner, will take over for her at first.
Emily Kennedy has constantly had to pitch with runners on base in this game and has gotten the leadoff. Texas has gotten the leadoff on in every inning but the first.
So Texas brings the tying run to the plate with nobody out in the 5th. And Tricia Ford is coming out of the Aggie dugout. What do we have here?
She told us she might mix some things up in the circle today. I think we might have a pitching change with Brooke Vestal coming in.
So Katie Stewart, who was 1 for 6 with 3 strikeouts against Kennedy, is going to see a new pitcher. Emily Kennedy out with a 3-1 lead in the 5th. Brooke Vestal has only pitched 1 game since April 15th. That was 2 innings, 2 runs against Florida in the SEC tournament. And here she is, the 6th-year player, the grad student, thrust into the middle of a 2-run game in Super Regional Game 2. And Katie Stewart, who was 0 for her last 5 with 3 strikeouts against Kennedy, may feel okay about this move, as Vestal misses up and in, ball 1.
Gives a completely different look than Emily Kennedy, and really is better against right-handed hitters than left-handed hitters because of this slow curve that she will throw with a ton of spin. Can throw hitters off with that pitch. That's her go-to. Like that. Gets a lot of swings and misses, totally changes the pace. So I would be surprised to see Vestal throw against the 3 righties coming up at Stewart, Washington, and Mitchell. And Emily Kennedy can enter back into this game.
Stewart's flat out struck out today. And she takes one a little low. So even with the success Kennedy's had against Stewart, you're not surprised that Tricia Ford made the move now?
I'm not surprised based off of the conversation that we had with her pregame of maybe wanting to mix things up. And with knowing how effective Vestal can be against righties.
Stewart, ground ball toward the middle. Woolley gets 1. Woolley gets 2. What a play! What a move by Tricia Ford! The Aggies turn 2 brilliantly on the infield. And Adea Wallace, the runner at second, is a little shaken up at the bag.
What an athletic play by Coco Woolley to get to the bag, and then this throw. How do you move like that? And then the stretch at first base by Trinity Cannon, which I think is what Coach White was talking to the first base umpire about, is if Trinity Cannon kept her foot on the bag or if she came off. And remember, Coach White is out of challenges. The out, or the call in the field was out, and it does look like it could be close if Trinity Cannon's foot comes off of the bag, but yeah, and it does. And
it did.
And he is out of challenges, so that double play is going to stand.
Wow. Marty Abzishin, I think, has warned the dugouts. Smokey Eds and Marty Abzishin, the umpires, have officially warned both dugouts. And I understand Mike White's frustration because he had to challenge 2 plays that were called wrong on the field. And if Texas had another challenge, he could use it again. That's a 3rd call that's gone against Texas, just the way the game goes. They've all been close plays, but he can't have it reviewed because we're not in the 6th inning. That's when the crew chiefs can take over for review. So a double play, and It was brilliantly turned by Coco Willow. Let's not lose sight of that just to get anything on that play. But 2 out, nobody on. And Vestal throwing to Alyssa Washington.
I always feel like in a game and in a series, some teams just get a little unlucky. And when you think about Texas in these 2 games, to me, the close calls have gone the way of Texas A&M. And also, they've hit some balls right at people at certain times that have just not fallen. And that's just how the game goes. That's how every Super Regional goes. That's how the Women's College World Series will go next week.
This is partly why people love home runs, because it takes the luck out of it. You hit it over the wall, unless it's a fair foul decision, umpires are not going to impact that. Bad hops are not going to impact that. All the runs have come on home runs in the series for Texas, including for Mitchell, who's on deck. Washington trying to way back on this, floats it to left. Trisha Ford is a stone-cold genius. Brooke Vestal gets 3 outs in the 5th. Texas has had runners on at every base. This was the biggest missed opportunity. 4th inning, runner at second. Mia Scott base hit. Looks like it should score Bella Dayton. Mike White's pointing, but where was he pointing? Bella Dayton thought he was pointing at third. Says you're pointing at the bag. Mike White had a different view of it. You could see Mike White say, I was pointing at home. You could see Steve Singleton say, oh my God. And then in the dugout, there's Mike. Steve is assistant coach, very frustrated, emotions boiling over. Bella Dayton was pretty heated in the dugout as well, was still shaking her head in the field. Things have just not been right throughout this Super Regional for Texas in a year where so much went right for Texas. There was just a missed call in the top of the 5th inning, and Texas has already used up both of its challenges. 8 runners left on base. Countless missed opportunities for Texas in the Super Regional. And on the other end of that, you have to say, and we have to say, Texas A&M has been the more poised team. And they have taken more of an advantage of their opportunities. Texas is the #1 team in the country. They've beaten themselves a bit. They've also come up against an experienced and unfazed team, because Trisha Ford hasn't looked emotional at all outside of when they won and she started slapping people on the back of the dugout.
Well, their conference schedule was a grind, especially the away series that they had to play. They had to go to Starkville. They had to go to Baton Rouge. They had to go to Tuscaloosa and to Gainesville. I mean, for sure, at LSU, at Florida, and then at Alabama, those are 3 of the toughest places to play in the SEC. And so she really felt like those series prepped this team to play on the road in the Super Regional.
Coco Woolley to second, and it's fumbled by Washington. Coco Woolley's speed creates havoc. It's an error against Washington, and the Aggies have the leadoff runner on.
This is when you can just see that players starting to get tight in games. The captain, Alyssa Washington, can make this play all so often, but got ahead of herself on the transfer, started to look to first base before she had possession of the ball, and just could not make that easy transfer.
Now Trinity Cannon, who has been the biggest bat of the weekend. 2 home runs yesterday. Struck out, hit by a pitch against Tegan Cavan today. Cannon unloads! Oh my word! Out to the building on a hop! It is Trinity Cannon's world! Aunt Rev is waving the rally towel, and Texas A&M has taken a 4-run lead in the 5th on a major swing and a major stop from their senior.
Trinity Cannon, just wow. This is even a changeup. She is not fooled at all. Remember, opponents off of the Tegan Cavan changeup are hitting 111. And she goes hunting, maybe for the changeup. She sees a mistake. She is on time with it 100%. She has been on time with a lot in this Super Regional. The 3rd home run for Trinity Cannon as a senior who had 0 home runs in the NCAA tournament in her career entering this Super Regional.
She has swung the bat 10 times this weekend. She's fouled off 7 pitches. The other 3 swings have gone for home runs. 1-1 for Julia Cottrell. It is an absolutely stunned burnt orange crowd. And Emily Kennedy with a hug for Trinity Cannon. A hero's welcome in the A&M dugout. The 16 seed with a 5-1 lead in a series where they have absolutely dominated Texas pitching.
Trinity Cannon said yesterday her hover was locked in. You see her hover with that left foot and get all of her energy into her backside and get behind the ball. I mean, the bombs that she have hit have been absolute no doubters off of her bat in this Super. She's giving her ear to the crowd out there in left field.
Jazz Hill with a ground ball to the shortstop hole. Skips away from Martinez, and Hill is aboard for a second time.
A&M has just played free. They have played loose. They have not played intimidated at all. And that's what Coach Ford said coming into the Super. She told us there is no intimidation factor here. Our players know each other. We were just here in the postseason last year in the regional final. They have played free. From the minute we walked into the field yesterday, Kevin, and watched them warm up, they have been loose the entire time.
And Estelle Check is going to replace Tegan Kavan. Four and a third for the freshman in her Super Regional debut. Not a lot of swings and misses. And Check will come in to try to keep this deficit at 4 for the nation's #1 team. Normally there are surprises in the Super Regional round. Normally not surprises like this. Estelle Check with a very good season in 52 1/3 innings, only 7 walks. And the left-hander will try to keep Texas within striking range in a game where all the momentum belongs to the folks in maroon.
The Texas A&M hitters have just looked prepared for every pitcher that they have seen. And the best part about playing free is that when you see a mistake at the plate, your body feels loose, like it can attack that mistake. And for A&M, they've looked prepared for every pitcher who's come in, no matter if their best pitch has been a drop ball or a rise ball. But the home runs that they have hit have been off of mistakes. A couple from Gutierrez. Look at this pitch location. That's Trinity Cannon's first one. This is her second one off of Mac Morgan. And then Jazz Hill, this is actually a pretty good located pitch, but you could tell she was hunting that pitch. And then this is Trinity Cannon's home run on the changeup that is out over the plate. So not only does Trinity Cannon have 3 home runs, she has 3 home runs off of 3 different pitchers.
And Wiggins with another smoke shot. Washington or Martinez, the shortstop, can't field this cleanly. Rylan Wiggins is on base. Hill moves to second, and A&M is just blistering balls off the infield dirt. That's a base hit for Wiggins, her 3rd.
They have just been on time for every speed that they've seen and every different type of pitch that they've seen.
Rylan Wiggins with another first pitch hit. All 3 hits in the inning have come on the first pitch.
Well, you had mentioned this earlier in this game too, but Texas A&M hitting as a team, the rise ball and the changeup collectively are their lowest batting averages off of those pitches. Rise ball at about a 250 clip, changeup also at about 250. They're hitting about 300 as a team. So you looked at the matchup with Tegan Kavan, the rise ball and the changeup, and thought that that would be a great matchup for Texas to go up against these hitters. But they have just been so prepared and adjusted well from the get-go.
Trinity Cannon with her 3rd home run of the Super Regional. She's driven in 7. The entire Texas team, 3 home runs. They've scored 6. A one-woman wrecking ball. But she's had a lot of help. The 50-8 Texas Longhorns on the ropes. They lost back-to-back games once this season. That was Oklahoma State in the finale, and then here against Oklahoma. The last time Texas lost 2 in a row at home, March 11th and 12th of last season. Enright left center field. Henry got a good jump and records his second out. Texas is now in a situation where if Maya Perez reaches, A&M would have the winning run-by-run rule at the plate. She will not reach. But Texas A&M delivers again. Another big fly from their big bat. Trinity Cannon with her 3rd home run of this Super Regional. The ground of the softball world moving beneath our feet. Number 1 seed Texas is 6 outs away from being swept at home by number 16 seed Texas A&M. Jazz Hill and Trinity Cannon with 2-run homers. The Aggies are 1 win away from maybe an all-SEC matchup with LSU, which run-ruled Nyjah Kennedy and Stanford yesterday. Game 2 of that series, 9 Eastern ESPN. Oklahoma State trying to sweep Arizona. Florida and Baylor will play Game 3 tomorrow. Only 2 number 1 seeds have failed to reach the World Series since the advent of the 16-team Super Regional format in 2005. The Big Boppers from Hawaii took down number 1 Alabama in 2010, and then Georgia upset Florida 16-1 in 2016. So 3 times in 20 years. And Brooke Vestal back out there out of the bullpen ahead of Jolie Mitchell. Texas discombobulated. Texas A&M poised from the opening pitch once more. Mitchell the only run for Texas. Her home run in the 4th off Kennedy. And she takes one a little bit too tall.
I think the important thing to remember here is that it's never over until it's over. A&M had a 6-run lead. They're winning 6-0 in yesterday's game, and Texas scored 5 in the later innings.
This inning, it was the 6th inning yesterday when Texas got back in the game with Ford. Mitchell had a big 2-out walk as part of that rally. Can the Longhorns flip the switch? 3-2.
I wish that we could get into the mind of Trisha Ford and know what she's thinking here, trying to get these last 6 outs. How is she going to use Brooke Vestal? What is she telling Emily Kennedy in the dugout? Is she telling her to stay warm? Is she telling Emily Levitt to go get loose? Or Shaylee Ackerman? There's Emily Kennedy in the bullpen now, not even in the dugout, in the sun.
Mitchell walks again. Jolie Mitchell aboard for a 2nd time, and Texas gets the leadoff runner on. This coverage begins on ESPN and the ESPN app. Ground ball to 3rd from Henry, and she's too fast for A&M to turn 2. But Kennedy Powell, an excellent defender, gets the lead runner Mitchell at 2nd for the 1st out. So 3 outs in relief for Brooke Vestal. Bella Dayton.
It's a close pitch right there. And you know, Coach Ford before the SEC tournament told us about this pitching staff that they've been really selfless and that a lot of the tightness and connectedness of their bullpen has a lot to do with Brooke Vestal, who has been at multiple different programs, but somebody who understands what it's like to be a part of a staff and have a role, and they all understand we need to do whatever it takes to win games. They all buy into their role, whatever it is in that moment, game to game. Brooke Vestal started at Oklahoma and then transferred to Ole Miss and then came here to Texas A&M, back to the state of Texas to finish her career. She's from just down the road.
A New Braunfels native with a 1-2. Was part of the national title team at Oklahoma in 2021. She only pitched 7 1/3 innings in 7 games. But did get a ring. And 3 years later, she's trying to lead Texas A&M back to Oklahoma City. 2-2. Dayton right side. There's a base hit for Bella Dayton. Henry will motor to third, and Texas has 2 on with only 1 out. And Mike White's going to go to his bench. Here comes his super weapon. The freshman Victoria Hunter is on to bat for Ashton Maloney. She has seen 1 pitch in this super regional. It was in the 6th inning yesterday, and what an impact she made with that 1 pitch.
A pitch and a swing that she will remember forever. Off of Emily Kennedy, bases loaded, first pitch, grand slam. Texas was down by 6 runs at that time, and Vic Hunter gets the call to pinch hit and comes up with that swing. I mean, what a moment. That's what the postseason is all about right there. It's the call again here today.
Hunter against Vestal. 2 on, 1 out. And she's not going to have a first pitch home run today. Had a pinch hit home run against Baylor 15 days ago. Had a pinch hit home run against Texas A&M 1 day ago. And after ball 1, here comes Tricia Ford. That's the first pitch Emily Kennedy has thrown in the bullpen. She is just now back up and throwing.
She's really lucky, too, that that bullpen is in some shade so that she's not warming up and in the sun the whole time. That's big with the amount of pitches that she has thrown. Warming up for yesterday's game, throwing the complete game yesterday, pitching almost 5 innings here in this game and warming up for it, too. It's been a hot day. I mean, we haven't talked about it as much as maybe we should because we're not in the sun and kind of in the AC, but feels like temperature of 108 at one point. It has just been so hot and steamy here today, and Emily Kennedy has just given her all despite how warm it is.
Down to feels like 105 right now. Hunter couldn't hold. Strike 1 from the 6th-year Vestal to the 1st-year Hunter. Experience in the circle for Texas A&M. Big-time raw talent at the plate for Texas.
And I think it's going to sound cliche, but the most important thing Vestal can do right here is throw strikes. At times when she's not had great outings, it's been her lack of command with that off-speed curveball that she'll throw.
The 2-1. That's not close. Hunter's sitting pretty on 3-1. The 2-time first-team All-Big 12er, Mia Scott, looms as the tying run. A 5-1 A&M lead. And Hunter will take one at the knees for strike 2. Henry at third, Dayton at first. 3-2 for Hunter. On the ground at third base, plays at the plate, and an out recorded on Henry. Powell went home, Henry slid in, Cottrell got the tag down, and it's the 2nd out of the inning. Texas can ask for a crew chief review, and Mike White has just asked for one to see if Henry got the foot in first.
Well, and I think a couple of things that they'll be looking at, because I actually thought that Henry's foot got under the tag. And also, I think if you're Kennedy Powell here, you have to get an out on this play. And not, you have a 4-run lead. Don't worry about this run. Try to get the sure out at first base because you know it's going to be close with Caden Henry's speed. The play has to be perfect. But the throw pulled Julia Cottrell up. The tag was late. And I think that Caden Henry was safe. And it's also the position, too, that Julia Cottrell has put herself in. Looks like possibly she's blocking the leading edge of the bag. Let's see where she puts herself. You see her left foot looks like it's blocking the leading edge. It could potentially be obstruction here as well, which they will be looking at.
Well, the question with the left foot here, does the left foot touch the plate before the tag? Because that left foot might be a little elevated as well. So the left foot's down. Does it get to the front edge of the plate first?
That's a great point. Because when she slides in, too, you can't really tell because the dirt ends up covering the plate.
Here's a call from Smokey Eds. And safe at the plate. So Texas gets the run. Powell took the gamble coming home on one of the fastest runners in softball. A run scores. And with only one out in the sixth, Texas will bring the tying run to the plate in the form of Mia Scott.
I think that was just such a missed opportunity for an out for Texas A&M's defense. Your pitcher makes a pitch, you're up by 4 runs, you have to get the sure out there and get the second out of the inning. With where Texas is at in their order, every out in this game is critical.
And we just received official word that the play was overturned because of obstruction against Julia Cottrell. So there's not a working public address microphone right now, but we have the official word from the Replay Review Center in Pittsburgh. It's obstruction to bring in the second run. And with 2 on, 1 out, Emily Kennedy is going to re-enter this game with a big smile on her face to take on Mia Scott. Broadway wishes it had theater this dramatic. It'll be an RBI fielder's choice for Hunter. Maloney re-enters the game to run. Kennedy re-enters the game to pitch after throwing 4+ innings and stranding a whole heap of traffic.
A little bit of a break for her, just to maybe kind of cool off in the dugout and then in the shade when she was warming back up. She threw 118 pitches yesterday, has thrown 73 here today, and now you're talking about hitters who this will be their, 7th or 8th time facing her.
This will be the 8th for Mia Scott, who was 0 for 6 before that single in the 4th, which should have scored Bella Dayton. Officially, by the way, it's an E2, no RBI because of the obstruction. Here's what's at stake. A&M's first trip to the World Series in 7 years. Texas trying to avoid an ignominious fate. Only 2 1 seeds have missed it in 20 years. First pitch to Scott, up the middle, base hit. Dayton is going to come home this time, and she scores! The throw to third from Kennedy, safe there! Oh my goodness, a merry-go-round on the base paths. There was nothing that could hold back Bella Dayton on this Mia Scott hit. It's 5-3. A&M is going to call for a review on the play at third, but we know the run scores from Dayton here.
A great arm and throw by Jazz Hill. A perfect throw to Cottrell. Kind of took her deep back behind home plate. She thought she had the ball in her glove, went for the tag, and a great slide, a dive head first to work around this tag. And Kennedy Powell thought that she had her. She looked at the A&M dugout right away, but how athletic of a dive right there by Ashton Maloney is that head first dive. Man, Bella Dayton knew she was going to score. She was standing on second base in scoring position, thinking ball to the outfield. I'm not stopping this time. Perfect throw by Emily Kennedy to third base, but it is just the slide by Ashton Maloney that works around this tag to the backside of the base. Another missed opportunity for Texas A&M to get an out here.
It's hard to tell if there is any contact there. Could there be contact with the hair? It's very close. It's called on the field safe. It's an RBI single for Scott. She goes to second on the throw. Maloney to third on what is a throwing error against Jazz Hill, her first error of the season. And right now it's a question of whether it's second and third 1 out or runner at second 2 out on this slide by Maloney and this tag attempt from Powell.
I don't think I see anything that clearly shows that her glove touches her, but there's a couple of times as Kennedy Powell sticks with the tag as she's trying to dive around. See what he says.
Safe the call. Ashton Maloney, the newest member of the Texas gymnastics program, gets down to third on the E8. Scott to second after an RBI single. The tying runs are on base with one out for Texas. And Viviana Martinez at the dish. Let's play some ball. Little low, 1-0. Reese Atwood looming in the shadows for Texas. Viviana Martinez in the sunshine and spotlight. On the inside edge, 1-1. Martinez had a base hit in the first inning. Second and third, one down. Martinez, ground ball, up the middle throw. Maloney is in. Scott will score. This game is tied.
Texas hitters just digging deep in these at-bats and being tough outs against both Brooke Vestal and now Emily Kennedy. Vivi Martinez hitting just over 200 against left-handed pitchers and is able to get a couple of RBIs to tie up this game. Wow, the speed, the at-bats, the power that you've seen from Texas in this inning. Again, to fight back, to claw back in the sixth inning, just like we saw them do in yesterday's game.
And in the middle of all this, a member of the Texas staff is trying to push back a panel of the outfield wall. I don't know where this one was on the softball bingo card, but Texas has scored 4 in the inning. There have been 2 errors. Martinez, by the way, went to second on the throw, and now the game is stopped because the outfield wall is messed up. What else could you possibly want? If Texas makes it to tomorrow, I know what Mike White's pregame speech is going to be. Pretend it's the 6th. 8 of their 10 runs at this Super Regional have come in the 6th inning. 4 yesterday, 4 today. And now this is really a shame that we have to halt play in the middle of this incredible inning because apparently a panel popped out of the outfield wall.
That's a break in momentum for Texas, maybe a catch your breath break for Texas A&M. I feel like looking at this, Texas has done a good job, Kevin, with some quality at bats, putting the ball in play, but I really feel like A&M's defense has let them down. 3 errors in this game. They had no errors in their last 3 games combined. Some bad decisions, some chances for outs that they were not taken, and that's the postseason. You have to take outs when they are given to you, and they did not do that in this inning.
And then there's this. But that shot, by the way, that's why the No Context College Softball Twitter account exists, so we can get umpires staring at the wall in a 5-5 game 2. Yeah, Texas A&M has been so much better defensively this year. They have 3 elite outfielders. Allie Enright was all defensive team. They got Rylan Wiggins and a great infield. And now the Yankees are going to leave the field so they can get out of the sunshine. I don't know how this happened. I don't know when this happened. Maybe it was fans banging on the wall during the craziness of this inning. But James Colsey is just trying to apparently stare this panel back into place.
Do you think maybe it was the Longhorns' fault that was being ridden before the game with the dog on it?
Could be.
Could
I
be
don't
the
know.
Longhorns' fault.
For James right now, he should go in the shade too. He's out there waiting for somebody to come try to help. That Tennessee-Alabama game's still going on, right?
It's still going on.
All right, so maybe we're just waiting till that game ends so we can pop over to ESPN.
What a game. Bottom of the 13th in that game.
In that game, you have Tennessee try to sweep Alabama. In this game, you have Texas A&M try to sweep Texas. I wish I could tell you folks more what's going on. It looks like the panel just got moved further out. And this guy with the towel on his head is going to go into the grounds crew area. What do we got there? Some garbage?
Oh, no. We had a shirt out there earlier, remember?
There's a can.
What is happening back there?
Normally you don't like it when the fans put cans on the field. Theater of the absurd. You know, the city motto here is keep Austin weird, and we're sure doing that. So this game is tied at 5. There's one out. Reese Atwood is going to bat at some point here in the 6th inning. If Texas wins, we have a game 3 tomorrow. All right, let's see what the freeze is up to here.
Interesting that there's just one person working on this with the umpire of James Colsey.
What? Does he have a garbage bag?
So I guess that's the issue.
I mean, some fans might think this 6th inning is garbage, depending on what side you're on.
How much trash is actually back there is the question. And is it so loaded with trash that it's putting pressure on the wall to, like, kind of create the opening?
Is this like the trash compactor in Star Wars right now? Come to life in left center field. All right, now I'm genuinely wondering, has the trash been cleared in this panel of the wall in the last 4 years?
I think so far all I've seen is like
on?
beer type of cans, though.
This is like, you know how in movies and TV shows sometimes you have the
bottle.
scene of a character who opens a closet and then 1,800 kickballs and hockey sticks and things fall. I feel like if you rip the panel off, that's what would happen. Beer cans and garbage bags and...
It's like Monica and Friends. She had that closet that was in the hall that, you know, nobody could ever open the door, and it's that exact type of closet that you're talking about. It's a little bit messy.
This super regional game is delayed because of the Monica closet.
Oh my gosh. This is definitely going on no contact softball, maybe multiple times.
Yeah. Another beer bottle.
Do you think he pulled the short stick to have this job, to be the one that clears the trash? And why is he the only one that is helping with this situation?
Well, maybe, maybe it's hard for somebody else to, it's in a pretty small area, maybe it's hard for somebody else to stick their hand in there and grab trash. We need to find out who this guy is, and we need to give him the Super Regional Championship trophy.
Wow.
Softball is not trash except for right now. So the players just hanging out in the dugout, trying to keep cool. Again, for whoever this guy is, and for James Colsey, you're trying to fix this, it feels like 105 right now. I mean, this is not a fun day to be outside doing anything.
Have you? I mean, you've caught a lot of games. Have you ever seen this before?
The trash delay? No, I don't think so. They're the fans. They could care less. They're having a fun time.
I'm wondering why there was only one way to attack the trash. Why not on the other side, too?
It's also a very poignant question. Here's the bracket. If we can step away from the trash compactor for a second. Winner of this Super Regional faces the winner of Stanford LSU. That game is going to start in an hour and 48 minutes. Hopefully the trash delay will be over by then. Oklahoma State is currently playing Arizona. Cowgirls run-ruled the Wildcats yesterday, and then Florida Baylor will play a decisive game 3 tomorrow, 2 Eastern, 1 Central on ESPN. It's a real shame that the Sports Emmys were 4 days ago. You hope they will consider us, and you hope they will consider this segment for next year. It's going to have to stay in the memory bank for a while. Here's the other side. Alabama and Tennessee are in the 13th. Winner of that game gets UCLA, or winner of that series gets UCLA. And then Missouri-Duke, game 3 tomorrow against Oklahoma.
We're still going.
All right, there's now a second gentleman out there, a second helper. All right, we're going to finally get it figured out, I think. The trash man has come to the rescue. No more garbage on the field. And this gentleman really should take a lap of victory around the field.
I almost feel like it's some sort of like relay race, like a challenge. Like the goal was to fill up the trash bag. Remember, you have to run there, fill up the trash bag, run back, and then that's the end of the challenge.
He deserves to get a Cal Ripken 1995 lap around the field, high-fiving the fans and the players. Okay, so there is still a softball game going on. It's only the most important one of the year. And it's Emily Kennedy against Reese Atwood. So what is going through Emily Kennedy's mind, and what was going through her mind for the last 5 to 105 minutes during that delay?
I think probably just thankful for a chance to slow down and catch her breath. She entered back into a high-intense situation and got a chance maybe to talk some things over with Coach Ford about how to approach these last couple of outs that they're trying to get in this inning. Just reflecting back to this inning for Texas A&M, they've had some opportunities for outs that they did not take, and that is going to be what could potentially come back and haunt them. I mean, it already has with the tied-up game and their lead gone away.
And now Reese Atwood, who's reached base 6 straight times against Emily Kennedy. This was the third of the 6th and the 7th inning last night.
She's done this a lot this year. Reese Atwood has. This is on a changeup.
Runner at second, Martinez. And we're finally playing again. Ball 1.
Is this the first pitch, or where are we in this game?
Unofficially a 12-minute trash delay. The longest 12 minutes in softball history. And now Atwood, the Big 12 Player of the Year, 2-0 against Kennedy. Walk, single, hit by pitch in the game. Atwood, left center field. Atwood, base hit. Here comes Martinez, and the Texas Longhorns take the lead. Atwood dumps one onto the grass in left center field, and it's 6-5 Texas. Its first lead of the Supers.
She's been so tough to get out, constantly finding a way to get on base. She gets jammed on this, but still stays on as long as she possibly can despite getting jammed and finds a hole. And I think what you're seeing in this inning, Kevin, is that finally things are starting to go the way of Texas. Some things are falling, some mistakes are happening, calls going their way. Has not really happened in game 1 and the first part of this game in game 2.
Reese Atwood on base for a 7th consecutive time. And Texas has its first lead of the weekend as Katie Stewart takes ball 2. The Longhorns 3 for 4 runners in scoring position in the inning. The 4th, the fielder's choice that led to a run at the plate. They were 2 for 8 in the first 5 innings.
Think about how important this game is with Emily Kennedy coming back into this game. She started the game as well, and they saw her the entire game yesterday. She is the ace for A&M. They are going to continue to go to her.
Stewart gets under it. 2 down in the inning as Este makes the play.
But you can't help but think about how Texas has the lead, and if it does go to a game 3, I'm not trying to get too far ahead of myself here, but if it does go to a game 3, what does that look like for Emily Kennedy and the pitching staff for Texas A&M?
I mean, it's a great point because she's now thrown 203 pitches over the last 2 days. She's faced Scott, Martinez, and Atwood 8 times. She's faced Stewart 7 times. Alyssa Washington, 9th batter of the inning. I mean, if you're a hitter and you've seen Kennedy 7, 8 times, you have to have the advantage, right?
Absolutely. And especially with how warm it was yesterday, how warm it has been today, you know that her body just, I mean, naturally, you just start to run out of steam. So her speed starts to go down, her movement starts to lessen. That doesn't mean that she's not competing as hard as she possibly can, working as hard as she possibly can, but it's just natural with the amount of pitches and innings that she has thrown and how many times that these hitters have seen her.
So Washington 0 for 2 of the walk. Mike White calls her over for timeout, and Mike and Steve Singleton and Alyssa are smiling again. The mood shift has been seismic for the Longhorns over the course of 8 batters and 5 runs. Washington in the air to right. Allie Enright's there. Texas trashes the A&M pitching in a 6th inning for the H's. 5 runs by the Longhorns. Martinez tied it with a 2-run single. Atwood puts UT on top, and top-seeded Texas is alive and well. Texas A&M, 2-time NCAA champions. Texas has never won it. They've been to the World Series 6 times. 2 proud programs trying to get back to Oklahoma City. And Texas, on the heels of a 5-run 6th inning, has vaulted back into the lead. 5 for 12 runners in scoring position, 3 hits in the 6th inning. Scott, Martinez, and Atwood with big RBIs. They're trying to avoid becoming the 3rd 1 seed to miss the World Series, while Texas A&M is trying to make it back for the first time in 7 years. And now it's incumbent upon the Aggies to turn the tides after giving up 5. They're only down 1. Still a long way to go. And Kylie Griffin is going to pinch hit here against Estelle Check. It's been probably a half hour since Estelle Check last threw a pitch. With a 5-run inning, a pitching change, and a 12-minute trash delay. And Griffin batting for Este in the 9th spot. Will take one down and away. Kylie Griffin only her 19th game of the year. She is 3 for 22. A walk, a double, and a home run. But here she is in a 1-run game, and she swings and misses. 35 minutes between pitches for Estelle Check. How tough is that?
Yeah, it's a long time, but it is very warm, which helps you stay loose. With all the drama, I didn't look down there to see if she continued to go back down there and get loose.
On the ground to third, that's Mia Scott, and that's the first out. The pinch hitter retired. Check gave up an infield single and has retired 3 straight since.
Yeah, Texas does have the lead, but think about how A&M has been swinging the bat. They just scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. They scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 2nd. So this is an Aggies team that is seeing the ball well, scoring in multiple different innings that we've seen, especially with the long ball.
I've got the top of the order up now. Kennedy Powell 1 for 3 with an RBI single. Powell takes strike 1. Her RBI single made it 3-0 in the 2nd. It was 3-1 after 4, 5-1 after 5. And hit Powell at strike 2. And Estelle Check is in another big game and in another big moment. 2 years ago, she was far from the front of the Texas staff. And then on semifinal Monday at the World Series, Mike White pitched her in the first game against Oklahoma State. Flared into center field. That's a base hit for Powell, and Texas A&M puts the tying run on base with 1 out. It's the 2nd hit for Kennedy Powell.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You talk about all the big game experience that Estelle Check has been in, and you think about the experience on this Texas team. They are young, but the players that have experience like Estelle Check have pitched in the big moments. They played in super regionals if you were on the team last year. For Texas A&M, this is a first for every single or almost every single person on that team, unless they were a transfer in and had previous super regional experience.
There's a bunt by Woolley. She goes down, and luckily for her, she did not make contact with the ball.
She ends up tripping on her own feet. Almost a well-executed bunt, though, with Katie Stewart anchored back at first base.
Woolley 0 for 3.
Well, and Kevin, you look back to the super regional that Texas played at Tennessee last year. And when talking to Mike White before the season began, coming into the season, he said just really felt like we didn't play our best at the end of the season against Tennessee. They didn't adapt well to what they were doing.
Woolley elevates one to right field. A big swing, but Maloney comes on to make the catch. And Coco Woolley is retired for the second out. And that will bring up the biggest bat in Austin. Trinity Cannon, who's homered 3 times, including this one just 1 inning ago off Tegan Cavan.
3 home runs off of 3 different pitchers. I mean, you just don't see that very often in a super regional game when no matter who has been in the circle, she has been on time and been locked in to whatever it is that they're throwing. Now going to face her 4th different pitcher and Estelle Check. 7 RBI for Trinity Cannon this weekend in the Super.
Trinity Canyon on base in 13 straight. Her slugging percentage in the last 13 is over 1,000. 7 home runs in the last 13. 14 free passes in the last 13. Teams are just not pitching to her. Will Texas. Check backdoors one for a strike. The 3rd-year Longhorn against the 4th-year Aggie. 1-run game, bottom 6. And time's called by Atwood. Pitch clock was winding down, and Reese Atwood wanted to reset. 0-1 from Check. Outside corner again.
It's that backdoor curveball that comes from that left-handed arm that starts in the left-handed batter's box and crosses back over the plate. A nasty pitch.
Powell the tying run at first. The 0-2. Trying to go back out there. Powell running for second. She's in there safely. A stolen base for Kennedy Powell, the first for either team in the Super Regional. And the tying run is at second.
I have a feeling you know where she's going to go. Back to that backdoor curveball because Trinity Cannon just hasn't really sniffed at it.
And she won't sniff at it here.
You start to stay out there on that side and you think, you're going to have to come in at some point. But if I were her, I would just stay to that backdoor curveball, nip it on the edge for a strike.
Number 22, her 22nd pitch, a 2-2. In the air right side, Maloney with a call, Maloney with a catch. Check escapes, and Texas will take the lead to the 7th. 6th inning magic for the nation's top seed has Texas ahead of Texas A&M in a must-win Game 2 for the Longhorns. They trailed 5-1 into the 6th. They scored 5 runs on a whole litany of insanity.
With some hits and then some bad decision making by Texas A&M, like Kennedy Powell going home when she should have gone to first. And then Vivi Martinez had 2 RBIs. Mia Scott was at second base. There's no way you're going to be able to get her. And this other one should have had an out here at third base. And then this is the one that I was thinking of, that Jazz Hill let this throw go all the way through. And as she lets the throw go through, Vivi Martinez moves into second base into scoring position. Vivi Martinez scored the go-ahead run, the 6th run for Texas. She should not have been at second base, but some bad decisions and poor tags by Texas A&M with their defense let Texas get back into the game, and also some clutch hitting as well.
Yeah, there were 2 errors, one on Hill, one on Cottrell for obstruction at the plate, and then that throw by Hill was a mental error, really.
And then even the opportunity to get an out at third base when Emily Kennedy threw to Kennedy Powell. Ashton Maloney made an incredible slide, but she was dead out. If you just make the tag there, but Texas just did not go away.
We talked ad nauseum for 5 innings and really part of the 7 innings yesterday about all of the missed opportunities for Texas. It's A&M with the missed opportunities in the 6th, and Jolie Mitchell leads off the 7th. Let's not forget her contribution. Slight but impactful. A leadoff walk started that whole 6th inning mess. She also homered back in the 4th, not so slight. And Mitchell will take a called strike 3 here as Kennedy gets her on the outside corner. Just the second strikeout for A&M today.
And Emily Kennedy just grinding out these at-bats, goes to her changeup, gets that pitch just on the edge, and Jolie Mitchell a looking strikeout. But you're right mentioning that Jolie Mitchell home run. I think that was a pivotal moment in this game.
First strikeout in 20 batters for Kennedy. Texas has sent now 34 hitters to the plate, only 2 strikeouts. Henry 1 out of 3. Her speed played a big part on the second run. She scored from third on the ground ball to third from Hunter. Forced a tough play at the plate, which was ruled a run on obstruction. And if it's not Caden Henry there's a much better chance for Texas A&M to get that out at the plate. Last time Texas A&M allowed multiple unearned runs in a game, you have to go all the way back to April 5th, 1 month, 20 days ago against Kentucky. 2 unearned runs here. And Texas has needed every one of them. Three and 2 for Caden Henry. Bella Dayton on deck. Texas leading at 6-5 in the 7th. Henry left side. That's some good back control. Second base hit for the freshman Caden Henry.
You can tell Texas is just starting to feel it now, and since they have the lead, feel a little less pressure. Caden Henry, the freshman, goes down and gets this outside pitch, just stays on it. Seen her contribute in a big way from the 8-hole with her speed.
And Emily Kennedy, who threw 118 pitches yesterday, throws her 100th of this game. All of them at 95 plus degrees. Probably all of them with a real feel of 100 degrees or more. Bella Dayton had a base hit in that 6th inning, 1 for 3 today. By the way, it's not like Texas A&M is doing itself any favors with some nice dark uniforms in the heat. And you have Emily Kennedy absolutely grinding out batters, laboring through. She is an All-American, most likely. Dayton skies one into center. Bella Dayton, a 2-run jack. A Bella bomb puts Texas ahead by 3.
You know that she was just letting out all of her frustration still from the base running miscue, miscommunication, mistake, whatever you want to call it, with this swing right here. Emily Kennedy tried to work her inside, and Bella Dayton knew it, looked for that pitch, got her barrel into 68 on her hands, gave the fans a little souvenir.
Maloney flips one to second. Wiggins is there. Bella Dayton with her 3rd home run of the season, and Texas has scored the last 7 runs over the course of 5 outs. Ball 1 to Mia Scott. Texas scored the final 5 of the game yesterday. It was not enough. They have the last 7 in game 2. Scott will squibble back to Kennedy, and we are going to the bottom of the 7th. A 2-run home run for the 9-hitter, Chow Bella. 8-5 Texas, which is now 3 outs away from forcing game 3 here in Austin. Heck of a catch, by the way, by that guy out in the bleachers in right center field. As the Texas Longhorns have stormed all the way back. It has been an emotional roller coaster of a game for Bella Dayton. An emotional roller coaster of 4 innings. Thought she was being stopped at third base on a hit, ended up not scoring in the inning, and now 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 RBIs in the last 2 innings. And Estelchek's going to come back out for the bottom of the 7th, trying to pitch Texas in a winner-take-all game 3. 7 straight for Texas in the last 2 innings. 8-5 is the score. The top seed Texas Longhorns try to avoid becoming the 3rd number 1 seed to go down in the super regional round. And there have been major contributors up and down this lineup. And now it's Estelchek, their 4th pitcher of these 2 games, to face the middle of the Texas A&M order, as the Aggies need 3 to tie and 4 to win.
The series has just had so much back and forth, and Texas being able to score late in both of these games, Kevin, to show some life late in yesterday's game.
You wondered if that late game momentum from yesterday would carry into today, and for 5 innings it sure seemed like the answer was no.
That's true. It's very true.
3 outs to get, 3 runs to protect. Ball 1 from Czech to Cottrell. An incredible day of softball. Day 3 of the Super Regionals proper. Day 2 for most of these series. Eric, thank you. Welcome to Austin. You haven't missed much. 8-5 Texas over Texas A&M. Kevin Brown, Amanda Scarborough, our ESPN crew. This was a 5-1 game. A&M leading into the 6th. Texas scored 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 4 hits, couple of errors, defensive miscues to take the lead. Bella Dayton just hit a 2-run homer in the 7th, and if you were just joining us on ESPN, we don't have possibly enough time to define everything that's happened. It's been softball at its best, it's been softball at its craziest, and it's been an amazing comeback by Texas when emotionally they looked dead in the water for 5 innings.
Yeah, they did. Not a lot of energy from them in the first, 5 innings of this game. A&M, complete opposite.
A&M is not done. Julia Cottrell slaps the ball the other way, a leadoff base hit, and the Aggies had the tying run on deck with nobody out.
And just that idea of the 16 seed going at the 1. The 1 can at times, I think when you are that 1 national seed, play with the weight of the world on your shoulders, or that can start to creep in a little bit, especially with such a young team with freshmen and sophomores like Texas. They do have some upperclassmen experience, with quite a bit of experience, actually. Alyssa Washington, Estelchek, who's pitching now, Bella Dayton. But A&M has played free, like they have had nothing to lose, and Texas came roaring back here late in the game in the 6th and 7th.
Estelchek having a conversation with herself in the circle. Haley Golden, the pinch runner, is in. We asked Reese Atwood, the Texas catcher, about the different personalities on her staff, and she said, Estelle, you don't have to say anything to her because she'll just say it to herself. Working against Jazz Hill, whose 2-run homer in the 2nd opened the scoring. And Hill takes ball 2.
And I think, I don't know if you agree with me here, but I think that when Texas took the lead, when the score was 6-5, I think you saw them be a completely different team and play free. Bella Dayton hit that home run in the last half inning.
Yeah, it changed sometime in that 6th inning for sure. A volcanic offensive inning. They scored 5 runs to take the lead, trying to become the, not to become the 3rd 1 seed to miss the World Series. A&M was looking good for its first appearance since 2017, but now they have some digging to do. A strike into Jasmine Hill.
And worth noting that A&M has been prepared for every pitcher that has come out for Texas. Citlali Gutierrez got the start in yesterday's game. They chased her. And Mac Morgan came into the game. They hit her hard. Tegan Cavan, the freshman, got the start today. They saw the ball well from her. So Estelchek, it's her turn. This is a deep Texas pitching staff, but A&M has looked prepared for every arm that Texas has put in the circle.
One more wayward pitch is going to bring up the tying run with nobody out. And that is perfectly placed by Czech. 3-2 for Hill. Four career home runs in the NCAA tournament for the graduate student. Hill with a ground ball to short. Martinez backing up, throws to second, and gets the pinch runner Golden there. 6-4 fielder's choice. One out in the A&M seventh. So Tricia Ford used a pinch runner, down by 3 for the first runner, and now Golden is out of the game. Rylan Wiggins trying to continue her banner evening. The second baseman, Leanne Good, just went sprinting from the right side to the left side as the pitch was being thrown. Texas has overshifted Wiggins all series, and now Good's going to move again as Czech gets ready to throw the next pitch. And Wiggins drags it foul. 7 straight runs for Texas against an A&M pitching staff led by Emily Kennedy that's been brilliant this year. This is a 58 game for Texas A&M. 42 of the 57. They allowed less than 5 runs. They gave up 5 in 1 inning today. And then 2 more in the 7th to boot.
Just think back to that top of the 6th inning for Texas. Some bad decisions on defense, quality at bats, and some fire in Texas's offense that they put together. 3 errors on the board for A&M today. Nobody committed an error in yesterday's game. It was a well-played defensive game, but 3 errors today for A&M. They had not committed an error in their prior 3 games combined.
1-2 for the senior Wiggins, the beating heart of the Aggie lineup. 2-2 as Smokey Edgewood just now appeal to first, and Leodame says no swing. It was a check swing, not a check swing. Popped up by Wiggins. Good, the second baseman makes a catch. 1 out to go for the #1 Longhorns.
Saw Reese Atwood too, who isn't a big emotional player, come out from behind home plate, take off her mask, give a still check, and the rest of the defense a little point. A really intense game, intense past 2 games. A lot of emotion with both sides.
Now Allie Enright, who is 0 for 7 in the series. Tying run would be a freshman, Maya Perez on deck. Enright trying to give her a shot. Strike 1 from Czech. Her 41st pitch in relief. 2 1/3 scoreless right now for Estelle Czech. Tegan Kavan just watching the game she started. It's in the dirt. Gets away from Atwood, and Hill will take second on the wild pitch.
I know as a right-handed hitter what Estelle Czech is trying to do. They're working that backdoor curveball on the outer half to these right-handed hitters for A&M, and that is the pitch that she's had success with. That's where she's been going over and over again.
Texas is 1 strike away from its biggest comeback win in exactly 3 months. February 25th, trailed Louisiana 4-0. May 25th, trailed Texas A&M 5-1. 2-2. Enright up the middle, base hit past the glove of Czech. And the Aggies are not going to go down without a fight. They'll bring the tying run to the plate on Allie Enright's first hit of the Super Regional. And it'll be Maya Perez, the freshman. A young woman who does not have an extra base hit in her first college year. But a young woman who last year, as part of an Alliance Home Run Derby showcase for Alliance All-Stars, beat Jocelyn Otto, the all-time Division I home run leader in a home run derby. So there is some pop in this freshman's bat. Two on, two out. Perez, the tying run. Check starts her with a strike.
And for what it's worth, left-handed hitters against Estelle Check hit 70 points higher off of her than right-handed hitters. 231 for the lefties.
Strike two. Mike White's talked about the depth of this team. When adversity's hit, they've been able to plug and play other people. They've plugged and played Check out of the bullpen, and she's a strike away from a win. Air horns and car horns and all kind of noise here surrounding Estelle Check in the circle. A 1-2 pitch in the bottom of the seventh is high.
Not easy to do as a freshman facing this pitcher for the first time. Take a couple of pitches with 2 strikes, not get too anxious. A take on a curveball away, a take on a rise ball up. You know she's going to go back to her curveball.
Fly ball into center field. It's drilled. It's gone. We're tied. Her first collegiate extra base hit is a 2-strike, 2-out, game-tying home run in the Super Regionals. You couldn't dream of this.
Oh my gosh. You knew she was going to go back to that curveball, and Maya Perez knew it as well. She was looking for that pitch, Kevin. She got down 0-2, took a curveball off the plate, took a rise ball that was out of the zone to get to this 2-2 count for her first career home run. Jazz Hill got on. Allie Enright, a base hit. 2 were on for this home run to tie up the game. The freshman, wow. Unbelievable.
'51 career plate appearances, 0 extra base hits. And I don't know where Jocelyn Otto is right now watching this game, but I'm sure she's got the biggest smile on her face, because the girl who took her down in an Alliance All-Star Home Run Derby has just tied this game 2 of the Super Regionals. And now Texas A&M has Kramer Este at the plate as the winning run.
You knew with the way that A&M had been swinging the bat this weekend that they just weren't going to go away easily. It's home run hitter to home run hitter right there with Cannon to Perez. I mean, Trinity Cannon, who was helping Perez there with something in the dugout, has hit 3 home runs. If you're new to this Super Regional, Trinity Cannon is a name that you need to know, a senior helping out a freshman in the dugout.
7 of the 8 runs on homers for Texas A&M. Inside to Este, 2-1. Kramer nearly had a home run yesterday, knocked a run-scoring double off the wall in left center. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Estelle Check threw 4 2-strike, 2-out pitches and could not get the championship point. Up and away, 3-2 for Este.
I mean, the moments that we've had in this Super Regional with the freshmen, the Vic Hunter pinch hit grand slam in yesterday's game, and then Maya Perez with her first home run of her career to tie up the game. I mean, so cool.
And the winning run is on. The Super Regional winning run is on. Kramer Este draws a walk. And a base runner with very good speed is just 3 bases away from sending the Aggies up to Oklahoma City.
Kevin, you think about how important that Bella Dayton home run was in the top of the 7th inning. Get a little bit of cushion to the lead for Texas. They were just up by 1. Her home run put them ahead by 3.
And Mike White's going to make his second pitching change of the game as Mac Morgan will replace Estelle Check. She got them nearly to the finish line. And then Maya Perez yanked away the finishing tape. A 2-strike, 2-out, 3-run home run. Texas 8, Texas A&M 8 in this Super Regional game for the ages. An instant classic that nobody here, and I suspect none of you watching at home, are ever going to forget. So Mac Morgan is on. We saw her for 5 2/3 innings of relief yesterday, gave up 3 runs. And she's going to try to retire Kennedy Powell and send this game into the 8th. That's what Morgan did yesterday, and she is in the game today because of Maya Perez starting a 3rd consecutive game for the first time all season.
I just can't imagine what it was like to be her running out of the box and seeing that ball in the air and thinking, oh my gosh, I think that has a chance to get out of here. And it did. And look at that smile. Oh my, it gives you goosebumps. This is what the postseason is all about. I mean, these 2 games that we have had between Texas and Texas A&M have both been classics.
We actually talked to Tricia Ford about Maya Perez today. We asked, are you going to keep the same lineup with Maya? She said, likes the at-bat. She said, really been waiting for her to have those kind of at-bats. She's been waiting for Maya to show what she can do and stop being a freshman. She's not a freshman right now. So back at it with Kennedy Powell, who was 1 for 3 against Mac Morgan yesterday, 4 for 8 here in the Super Regional. All 4 are singles, but she does have a little bit of pop. Powell takes a strike.
Well, and really think about how important this last out is for Texas A&M to try to score a run and win this game. Emily Kennedy is essentially pitched almost 2 games. She would for sure get the start in Game 3 tomorrow if there is one. But if A&M is able to score a run here, it's over.
A chopper, going to be a tough play. Scott from 3rd fumbles it, and there goes Este to 3rd. She's out. Este got a little over-eager. And the shortstop Martinez snuck in behind for the final out of the 7th inning. A game that deserved extras is going to get him. Maya Perez unfazed with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Texas A&M has tied it in Game 2. Very normal line score. 0-2, 5-0, 2-3 in the last 3 innings. Free softball in Austin. And this is how the bottom of the 7th inning ended. Watch Kramer Este here. Gets to 2nd. Mia Scott fumbles the ball. Este thinks she's got 3rd. But Vivi Martinez, the shortstop, covers. And if Este just holds at 2nd, Amanda, the game-winning runs at 2nd with Coco Woolley coming up.
Yeah, she saw that 3rd base was open, thinking that Vivi Martinez either wasn't going to notice that she was getting to 3rd base or wasn't going to get there in time and that she could beat her Este with great speed. But another poor decision made by Texas A&M, just trying to be aggressive in all aspects of the game. That's how they play, but too aggressive there to make the last out.
And here's Martinez leading off the inning, and she sprays one over the outstretched glove of Woolley. Viviana Martinez with 3 hits out of the 3-hole, and the leadoff Longhorn is on for Reese Atwood. We were ready for Emily Kennedy and Reese Atwood, these 2 travel ball teammates for a year with a Hot Shots program, and they're facing off for a 9th time in 2 days. Atwood has only been retired once. It was the first at-bat of her in the series. She was retired on a ball she smashed toward Emily Kennedy's face. Atwood smokes one to left, and Atwood is retired for a second time as Este makes a play from left.
And she has been locked in this series.
It's Reese Atwood's first out in 25 hours and 14 minutes.
Well struck ball and line drive that she just quickly turns on in her half and just hit right at Este. But man, she hit that on the line.
So the other line out was yesterday, a ball that popped out of the glove of Kennedy. It was caught by diving Wiggins. This one right to Este. 1 on, 1 out. Katie Stewart, who is 0 for 4 today. Stewart had a single in the second inning yesterday. Retired 7 straight times since, but she is Texas's second best hitter by RBIs, the best hitter by on base, reaching base nearly 50% of the time coming into today. She's the kind of player who can quite literally break windows in the building across the way in left field. He's broken a couple during batting practice out there. And that prodigious power not far from Emily Kennedy's mind, I'm sure. That's in the dirt, ball 4. It skips away. Martinez to second, and Cottrell retrieves it quickly. So no extra advancement. Katie Stewart has Texas's 4th walk, and the Longhorns have 2 on with 1 out. And Leanne Good is going to get her first at-bat of this series.
It's a player with a lot of experience from last year in her freshman year. Started a bit injured as the season began in February, and Alyssa Washington got hot, couldn't move Alyssa Washington out of that second base position, but to have Leanne Good off the bench and be able to come in and plug in.
Good to right field, and right's there. Martinez ready to tag. She'll hold at second. 2 out here in the 8th.
Just so much depth, Kevin, on this Texas team. Whether it's a pinch runner, a pinch hitter, bringing in new people defensively. A really athletic team top to bottom.
Well, Jolie Mitchell drove in the first of the 8 for Texas back in the 4th inning. She also walked to lead off that 5-run 6th. The All-ACC player a season ago at Notre Dame. Mitchell lofts one high in the air to left. Este has room, and Este makes the catch. Big hitters coming up for the Aggies. Woolley, Cannon, and Cottrell. 1 run to Oklahoma City. Unless Coco Woolley walks it off, Trinity Cannon will have an opportunity to win it for Texas A&M in the bottom of the 8th. And Trinity Cannon is as feared as any hitter across the land right now.
Well, because she hit a 3-run home run in the first inning of the Super Regional against Citlali Gutierrez, and that really put the momentum to A&M's side offensively. She set the tone, and then later in that same game yesterday, hit a home run off of Mac Morgan. Then today, faced a 3rd different pitcher, and Tegan Cavan sat back on a changeup and has now hit 3 home runs in the Super Regional off of 3 different pitchers. What a weekend for Trinity Cannon, who had 0 home runs in the NCAA tournament before yesterday.
Terrifying 2, 3, and 4 for Texas A&M. Needs just 1 to win. The Aggies, the 16 seed, swept the Bryan College Station Regional. 1 more win, they'll get to the World Series for the first time in 7 years. 1 more win in Texas would be the 3rd 1 seed in 20 years to miss the World Series. Mac Morgan against Coco Woolley, who slaps one foul. If you haven't seen Mac Morgan, there's one critical thing you should know. She is an intense drop ball pitcher. She'll throw the drop ball about 90% of the time. She gets a ton of contact on the ground, and on the ground is where Woolley thrives.
She can go to her slap, she can keep her feet still and swing away. Even saw her have an extra base hit at the SEC tournament to walk off South Carolina.
Woolley grounds one foul off her foot. Told us her whole MO as a player when she's at bat is I want to get into the dugout as fast as possible because it's hot.
I laugh before you even finish the story because it's just so funny.
Ground ball to second. Good. Plays a short hot run.
And to also know, too, about Mac Morgan, she pitched for Trisha Ford, the head coach at Texas A&M at Arizona State.
A series that is just oozing thick with storylines and with intrigue. The former Sun Devil against her former head coach. And Trinity Cannon. First pitch, strike. Trinity Cannon with 7 home runs in the last 13. The senior from Forney, Texas. Oh, Morgan gets a low strike there.
It's a tough pitch to hit and handle when it's 70, pummeling down on the outside corner. Trying to stay away from Trinity Cannon with her pull power.
Cannon, a player who has embodied what it means to be an Aggie. Trisha Ford talks about honesty and integrity and selfless service. She's gotten better every year. Her average has risen. Her on base, her slugging percentage have all increased every year. This is what she's done in the Super Regional after a slow start to her postseason career. One swing to win it. Cannon with a ground ball to third. A flying leap by Scott, and she throws her out. 2 groundouts for Mac Morgan in the bottom of the 8th.
Mac Morgan just has that big game experience, and she also is a pitcher that just has never let the moment get too big. Even when she was a freshman pitching at Arizona State, she pitched a lot her freshman year and always wants the ball in the big game. She does not let her heart rate get too high.
Ground ball, Julia Cottrell. Morgan in the circle. 3 groundouts in the 8th inning. To the 9th we go. Bottom and the top for Texas. Here at the Austin Super Regional, where Texas not won a Super Regional at home in 11 years, despite making the Champ Series 2 years ago. Texas A&M hasn't beaten a #1 seed since some player with a blonde ponytail named Scarborough was in the bottom of your picture in 2008 World Series against Florida. It's only happened twice. Twice in 20 years, a 1 seed has missed the World Series. Hawaii took out Alabama in 2010. And then Georgia took down Florida 6 years later, and 8 years after that. #1 is on the ropes. Florida and Baylor are going to play Game 3 tomorrow. Oklahoma State right now ahead of Arizona, looking to sweep that series. Stanford LSU gets ready in 50 minutes for first pitch. It's been an insane, epic, crazy day of softball. Alabama beat Tennessee in 14 innings. That series is going to a Game 3. Missouri and Duke had a terrific game. Missouri won. That's going to a Game 3. Baylor, with a big 3-run home run from Shea Govan early, beat Florida. That's going to a Game 3. Will we have a 4th Game 3 tomorrow? It depends on if Texas can solve Emily Kennedy with Henry Dayton and Maloney batting in the 9th.
Well, and there's nothing like a Game 3 in Super Regionals where it's winner take all and take their bags to Women's College World Series and have your dreams come true. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, to make it to a Super Regional, you've had a great season. But for most teams who do make it to the Super, your ultimate dream, your ultimate goal when you start out in the season is to make it to the Women's College World Series and get a chance to play in OKC.
Henry with a bunt on a 2-1 pitch. Kennedy not in time to first. It's a leadoff bunt single for Caden Henry in the 9th.
Today it's been all about the speed for Caden Henry. Been putting the ball on the ground, legging things out, had an infield single earlier on in this game, and also beat out a double play that was a key moment in the game. But her speed, getting down the line, I mean, she is blazing fast, and it takes her no time to get to her fastest speed out of the box. That was a well-executed bump by the freshman.
Her 25th multi-hit game of the year, and here's Bella Dayton. Texas is not going to bunt here with Dayton, who homered on her last swing. 25 multi-hit games for Caden Henry out of 57 played. There goes Henry for second. She is in there. And a stolen base for Caden Henry, her 26th, leading the team and leading the Big 12.
Such a good jump, and look how fast she is. She is so quick, and she gets going within her first or second step to her fastest speed. Man, she's quick.
Now do you bunt?
Take it away.
Smokey Eds is going to Trisha Ford. I wonder if Trisha Ford would like to ask for a review on if the runner left early. Smokey's going to say, come on in, Marty Abzetian. Bring the crew together.
And Mike White has used all of his challenges.
Texas A&M has used one. Crew chiefs can initiate a review at any point during the game as well.
I don't know what they were talking about there. I think she left pretty much right on time. At this point in the season, I think that base runners have adjusted to not leaving early. There's that show and bunt you were asking about before Trisha Ford came out of the dugout and talked to Smokey Eds. That was a good pitch. Like it clipped the corner, didn't get the call. It's a big change in this count to go to a 2-1 hitters count and see if they're still going to keep the bunt on or let her swing away after her home run.
Bunt laid down foul, and it's strike two. Ashton Maloney on deck, not a power hitter by any means. 2 doubles. Slapper who gets on base a lot. They play for one or play for the big inning. Now on 2 strikes, the bunt is off. And a really good take by Bellup. Had a huge NCAA tournament 2 years ago. Made the World Series all-tournament team. On a 3-2, Dayton will ground one to first, and that is as good as a bunt. Henry advances to third with 1 out.
Right fielder Ashton Maloney.
Ashton Maloney, 1-for-4 today. This is Texas's 46th plate appearance of the game. They've had a runner on 31 out of 46. And obviously they've had 9 plate appearances to lead off innings. So they've had a runner on base 31 of their 35 plate appearances after the first batter of the inning. Leadoff batter's been on 7 out of 9 times. 1-1. Maloney slaps it foul.
And what that translates to, in my opinion, is a lot of pitching under duress for Emily Kennedy, a lot of pressure situations for the A&M defense to make plays, and I think that you've seen with the 3 errors that they've committed here in this game that they felt that as well with the pressure that Texas has put on them.
I mean, it's been a Herculean effort by Kennedy, no matter how many runs she's given up, because she threw 118 pitches in 7 innings yesterday. She came out of the game after 4 today. She came back in the game. She said to sit through a ton of delays. Maloney slaps it to short. Willie will come home and throws it away. Texas takes the lead back. An RBI and a bouncing ball off the bat of Maloney, and it's 9-8 Longhorns in the ninth.
And Cooker Woolley decided that her only play that she thought that she could make here was at home. You could tell that she was thinking about going, maybe for a second going to first. But I mean, with Caden Henry's speed, I think that you have to find a way with your internal clock. Do I go home or do I try to get an out here? Knowing your base runner at third, another opportunity to maybe get an out at 1. But this is where Texas, Kevin, has all their speed. With Caden Henry, Bella Dayton, Ashton Maloney, and Mia Scott. Put pressure with putting the ball on the ground and put pressure on the A&M defense.
Maloney with just her 18th RBI of the year, and now Mia Scott. A bunt single, a steal, a ground out, and a fielder's choice to short. Scott had an RBI single in the 6th. It's dropped by Cottrell, but in the strike zone. Here's Scott with multiple RBIs, 9 of her last 20. Looking to pick up another here. And she puts one through the left side for a base hit. Maloney on the top foot trail is out at third. Ran right in the face of Este, who has her 2nd outfield assist of the postseason.
What a play by Kramer Este. The A&M outfield this season has been so much better with Este, Hill, and Enright. So many outfield assists at every single base that you can think of. Este with the 360 turn and the perfect throw to Kennedy Powell, who puts on the tag. A&M's outfield last year in terms of DRS, defensive runs saved, they were negative, a -5 runs defensive runs saved. This year, they have saved over 11 runs. That is a change of 16 runs by the A&M outfield in terms of DRS, just by their outfield alone.
Mike White has asked the umpires for a review. A crew chief initiated review will be called here. You have to look at a couple of things here. One, the out at third. And then 2, could there have been any obstruction on a fielder as Maloney rounded 2nd? And so it's another review that Emily Kennedy has to sit through. So let's go to the tag at third here.
To see if her left foot got in there before the tag was made on her right hip. I think it
calls uphill.
Yeah,
it's an out at third.
What a great play by Kramer Este to Kennedy Powell, an important out number 2 in this inning. Already given up a run. Could have been 2 runners in scoring position, less than 2 outs. That was a big out.
Another huge outfield assist for Kramer Este. And Martinez puts one in the air her way. Reese Atwood will be left in the on-deck circle, but Texas gets one. Jazz Hill's homered today. Rylan Wiggins and Allie Enright to follow her in a 1-run game. Texas is 3 outs away from Game 3. Texas A&M is 2 runs away from the World Series, and Jazz Hill will lead off in the 9th inning, having done this back in the 2nd.
Feels like a long time ago now, but Teagan Cavan turned on this low-rise ball, put A&M on the board first. That 2-run home run by Jazz Hill, the senior, keeping the A&M offensive momentum from yesterday, and a former teammate from Mac Morgan. Both played at Arizona State together under Tricia Ford. Morgan was at Texas last year, but her freshman year she played with Jazz Hill at ASU.
2 players that know each other awfully well. A couple of years ago, their Arizona State team was the 8th seed nationally. Made the Super Regionals. Lost Game 1, won Game 2, and then dropped the decisive Game 3, 8-6 against Northwestern. Hill and Morgan 2 years ago were tantalizingly close to the Women's College World Series. They were each a couple of runs and 1 win away, and now only one of them will get there. Jazz Hill could take a big step forward toward getting her team there today. Texas must win to force a Game 3. It's down and in for ball 2. Mac Morgan started that Game 3, gave up 4 runs, 3 1/3. Jazz Hill went 0 for 3. Redemption in the making for somebody this weekend. Hill pops it up. Shallow right field. That ball lands in between Good and Maloney. And it's a leadoff base hit to bring the winning run to the plate with nobody out.
Yeah, Jazz definitely got jammed here, but finds a hole behind Leanne Good and Ashton Maloney. That ball was in the air for a long time. I thought that there was plenty of time for somebody on the right side to catch that, but both looked a little bit unsure to take control. Ashton Maloney, as the outfielder there, has priority. Should have called her off. Had a great angle to catch that.
Rylan Wiggins now takes ball one. Rylan Wiggins has been to the World Series 3 times as a fan. The first was 15 years ago, 2009. Wiggins, center field, hit right at Henry. Well, they're trying to get back there for a 5th straight time. Texas A&M for a 1st straight time. Strike one, Morgan to Enright. Home run wins it, and Allie Enright has the 3rd most home runs of any Aggie. 2nd highest slugging percentage on the team, and she snapped an 0 for 7 start to the series with a 7th inning hit. Oh, would you look who's on deck? Maya Perez, who's 2 out, 2 strike, 3-run home run, tied it in the 7th. 0-2 for Allie. Popped up by Enright. Right side again, and this time Maloney will get there. A little bit of a shaky transition on the way down, but Ashton Maloney squeezes it. And once again, Texas is 1 out away. And once again, the only boulder standing in their way is Maya Perez.
I mean, this moment, she got down 0-2 and then took 2 pitches that were out of the zone with confidence to get to that curveball from Estelle Check. The freshman, her first career home run, tied up this game, and she is why we're in extra innings.
She didn't have an extra base hit until that swing. She could possibly do it again, could she?
No. She did win that home run derby, like you mentioned. She has the power to do it.
Oh, nothing is impossible in this game. Patty Ruth Taylor is going to come out to the circle, and the Texas infield is going to go, or a couple of them are going to go out to the outfield anyway. A huddle in right center, a huddle near first, and a huddle in the circle between Morgan Atwood and the first-year pitching coach, Patty Ruth Taylor. Ashton Maloney looks pretty emotional right there.
Maybe about letting that ball drop in between her and Leanne Good is the only thing that I could be thinking of. But we've seen a couple of emotional players for Texas. Saw Bella Dayton be kind of emotional as well, and then Ashton Maloney almost dropped that ball. Just a little bit of a fear factor there, but teammates coming out to give her some love. Just got a hug from Caden Henry, her center fielder.
They don't have their captain on the field, Washington. She was taken out in the 6th, so Scott and Martinez went out there. Ashton Maloney right now has the game-winning RBI. And she will take a deep breath in right field, knowing the ball could very well come her way from Maya Perez.
I think it's an important time to remember, Kevin, there's a lot of pressure on these athletes that you're feeling it from all different angles, your friends, family, your school, social media. These games mean a lot to you. Your dreams and showing up for your teammates in a big way and being perfect, or your idea of being perfect, means a lot to you.
Maya Perez takes strike one. Pretty much every team you talk to talks about mental health, and a lot of teams work with sports psychologists, and there are so many peaks and valleys before a season, into a season. It's a lot to ask to manage this ride. One of these teams is also close to managing the ride in game 2, and for a 2nd straight at-bat, Maya Perez is down 0-2 with the game on the line. Is there another stroke of magic in that bat? Inside, nearly hit her on the knee. Texas fans wanted a strike. It was certainly inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes for the freshman designated player. Price the tying run at first. Perez takes outside. Price takes a jab step towards second, and Atwood holds onto the ball. And now it's the same count in which Maya Perez hit the home run in the 7th. 2-2. Left side, that is just foul.
That was so close.
Whenever Texas A&M's next game is, Maya Perez is going to start at a designated player. Will it be Thursday or will it be tomorrow? And Perez is going to take first. Catcher's interference against Reese Atwood on that 2-strike swing.
And Maya Perez, after that swing, just looked back right away. Yeah, clearly making big contact with that glove. What a great at-bat by Maya Perez. Got down 0-2, took some pitches, fouled off some pitches, and then knew it right away. You could clearly see it.
Winning run at first, tying run at second. Here is Kramer Este. Well, what's going on here? Smokey Eds is going to say Reese Atwood took a timeout. And now Trisha Ford would like a timeout of her own. Perez has already been taken out of the game for a pinch runner once. Do it again, you would lose her for the rest of the game, but who knows how long the rest of the game is. And Maya Perez will come out first. She wants to go over to Kramer Este, though. So Texas A&M will bring in a pinch runner as the winning run at first. And it is the sophomore Keely Williams who now represents the game-winning run. So the tying run is the pinch runner Price. The winning run is the pinch runner Williams.
Remember yesterday it was Kramer Este that ended up having the game-winning RBI. Had a double off the wall, pushed across a 6-run for Texas A&M. They'd go on to win 6-5.
The All-SEC left fielder, Este. Swings away, sharp grounder to second. Good, takes it to the bag. And Texas survives one of the craziest softball games you will see in your life. The top seed in the NCAA tournament is not done yet. Texas 9, Texas A&M 8. And there will be a Game 3 tomorrow in Austin.
27 hits in this game and a 9-8 final score, 17 runs scored. I mean, this game was an absolute dogfight, but it's going to be the Texas offense with the 9 runs, 1 more run than what A&M scored with the 8. That's going to be the Capital One rewarding performance of the game. 15 hits, 2 home runs, 9 runs scored for the Longhorns to push it to a Game 3 with Oklahoma City on the line tomorrow.
Texas trailed this game 5-1 going into the 5th. Scored 7 consecutive runs. Gave up a 3-run, 2-out homer in the 7th and then survived it in extras. And there is another Game 3. There is an epic Game 3 on deck. Texas and Texas A&M tomorrow. To the winner goes the spoils. I don't know what else to say. And so we'll say so long for now from Austin. We kept Austin weird tonight, partner, that's for sure.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Game 3. What could be better than that?